to deal with family pressure to marry. I paid $9.9 online to find a girl, preparing for a fake marriage. Who knew that during registration at the Civil Affairs Bureau, the staff looked at me with a face full of contempt. You're already married, and you're still here to register. Don't you know about the crime of bigamy? After walking out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, I looked at the printed marriage certificate, a bit dazed. The girl beside me also said regretfully, Mr. Ling, you're already married. Why did you spend money to hire me? Then she left a word saying the deposit is non-refundable and quickly ran away. I froze in place, still haven't recovered. I, who have never even had the luck to hold a girl's hand, how could I already be married? I looked at the printout in my hand again. The man in the photo on the certificate was indeed me. The woman was named Shen Youchu. She looked beautiful, but I didn't know her at all. Then I took out my phone and took a photo, sent it to a black profile picture. Help me find out who she is. The other party replied instantly, received. I suppressed the confusion in my heart, rode my old electric bike into a luxury villa area, just parked the car. The chatter of servants came from behind me. Who is he? He's so handsome. Shoo, don't talk nonsense. He's an unrecognized illegitimate son of the Ling family. His mother showed up pregnant years ago demanding an explanation. That old woman was thick-skinned, kept finding excuses to linger in the Ling house and not leave. He, however, knew his place. Moved out since middle school. Wonder what he's here for today. I frowned and pretended not to hear, walked straight into the living room, and my mother, Luli, who was waiting at the door, saw me. Immediately anxiously dragged me upstairs. Come with me to find your brother first. By the way, you got the marriage certificate, right? I responded flatly. I got it. That's good. You must remember your status. Shen Xin is your brother's fiancé. That kind of top-tier wealthy family is not something an illegitimate son like you can aspire to. Only your brother is worthy of her. A flash of irony crossed my eyes. Shen Xin pursued me for 4 years in college, but on graduation day, she got together with my brother Ling Fan. Luli demanded that I find someone to marry immediately, to completely cut off any possibility with Shen Xin. Since I was a child, whenever Ling Fan and I had a conflict of interest, she would demand that I yield unconditionally. I looked at her coldly. It's settled. This is the last time. This time is to repay her for the grace of giving birth to me. Luli said impatiently. I know. Arrived at Ling Fan's room, he greeted me with a smile. Ling Yu, why are you here? Before I could speak, Luli answered first. Xiao Fan, Ling Yu got married today. Ling Fan looked surprised. So fast? Who is she? Is she better than sister Shen Xin? Luli said mockingly. How is that possible? In all of Haichang, you can't find anyone with a higher status than Miss Shen. What kind of good family could he find? Probably just some street thug. He didn't even dare bring the girl, afraid her shabby appearance would offend your eyes. Ling Fan's voice sounded jealous. How could that be? Ling Yu is so handsome. Otherwise, sister Shen Xin wouldn't have pursued him for 4 years. What's the use of being handsome? With his status, only some random person from nowhere would be willing to marry him. Miss Shen just treated him as a toy, just playing around. Only you. Your status is worthy of Miss Shen. The appearance and temperament of the woman in the photo couldn't possibly be associated with a thug. But I couldn't be bothered to argue. At this moment, Ling Fan had put on his watch, wanted to put on his leather shoes, but found his shirt was too tight, making it inconvenient to bend over. He smiled slightly and looked at me. Luli immediately pushed me. Useless thing. How are you still so clueless? Your brother is inconvenienced. Hurry up and help him put on his shoes. My expression was cold. You can help him yourself. Ling Yu, what's with your attitude? Do you think you've grown wings just because you got a wife? You'll still have to rely on the Ling family in the future. Luli's voice rose. If you don't get along with your brother now, one day, you and your wife will be begging him. Besides, the Ling family raised you, so you should serve the Ling family like an ox or a horse. Before I could refute her, my father, Ling Jinan, suddenly appeared at the door. An honored guest is coming soon. What are you arguing about here? Luli immediately began to complain tearfully. It's all because of this wretched son. He got his marriage certificate today, and now he doesn't even respect me as his mother. Ling Jinan looked at me. Married? Why didn't you let the family introduce someone to you? Do you have the marriage certificate? Let me see it. Facing the concern of this stranger of a father, I paused and pulled that printout from my bag. The next second, it was snatched away by Luli. Let me see what this thug of a wife of yours is called. On the other side, Ling Fan asked curiously, Dad, who is coming? That makes you so nervous? Ling Jinan thought of that person and immediately felt honored. Then he excitedly spoke a name. Shen Youchu. Upon hearing this name, I was instantly stunned. Seeing our confused looks, Ling Jinan explained proudly. It's normal that you don't know her. She is very mysterious. Even I haven't met her. She is Shen Xian's aunt, only 28 years old, yet she has already become the true head of the Shen family. Lu Li exclaimed instinctively. Then wouldn't she be more suitable to be the head than Shen Xian? Much stronger than some eldest daughter of the main house. Ling Jinan said irritably. What are you talking about? Miss Shen is already married. I narrowed my eyes. Married? If the person on the marriage certificate is really her, then it seems Shen Youchu should know what's going on. Lu Li felt slightly disappointed. Who is her husband? He must be even luckier than Xiao Fan. Ling Jinan frowned and thought. I don't know. It's said that she and her husband both dislike socializing. I just wonder why she's visiting in person today. Lu Li said decisively. It must be because Xiao Fan is too outstanding, which caught the attention of the Shen family. After saying that, she stuffed the unread printout back into my hand, held Ling Fan's hand and gave an excited, mocking smile. This look of hers is more attentive than Madame Ling, the biological mother. At this moment, the butler came upstairs to remind them that the Shen family was arriving. Hearing this, Ling Jinan hurried downstairs. As he passed by me, he casually said, You haven't been home for a long time. Have a glass of wedding wine before you leave. I nodded along. I wanted to stay and see who Shen Youchu actually is. In the room, Lu Li looked at Ling Fan, who was preparing to marry a wealthy lady, with uncontrollable joy in her eyes. Over 20 years ago, if it weren't for the appearance of Madame Ling, Li Xia, the one who would have married Ling Jinan would have been Lu Li. She hated Li Xia, so to get revenge on Li Xia, during the time they gave birth on the same day, she swapped the two children in the hospital. Now, her biological son, Ling Fan, has become the young master of the Ling family, while I, the real young master, have become the despised illegitimate son. After going downstairs, I leaned in the shadows by the stairs, staring toward the door, quietly waiting for the Shen family's arrival. After some time, Madame Ling, Li Xia, walked down supported by a servant. She was wearing a purple qipao. Her figure was thin. She had an air of scholarly elegance. The servant whispered, Madam, your health is poor. You shouldn't come down. Madame Ling shook her head while coughing. Such an important day for Xiao Fan. I cannot miss it. I looked at her back, my eyes filled with a feeling of warmth. It's laughable, really. In the Ling family, she was my only warmth. When I was little, Lu Li often didn't give me food. Once, after Madame Ling found out, she would regularly go to the garden and leave some food for me. She did this for 12 years. If not for Madame Ling's kindness, I should have given up on myself long ago. Watching Mrs. Ling walk further and further away, hearing her cough from time to time, I frowned with worry. Just then, there was a commotion at the door. The Shen family had arrived. Ling Jinan and Mrs. Ling were greeting them at the door. After a few words of pleasantries, they stepped aside. A large group of people entered the house. I spotted Shen Youchu at a glance. Her face was even more beautiful than in the photos. Her aura was cold and sharp. Noticing my gaze, she suddenly looked over. That sharp gaze made my heart stir. I wanted to glimpse the emotion in her eyes, but Shen Youchu looked away. This left me a bit confused. Does she actually recognize me or not? Ling Jinan complimented her with a smile. Miss Shen, where is your husband? Did he not come with you? As soon as he said this, I felt Shen Youchu glance at me again. He is unavailable. And so, the crowd surrounded her as they walked toward the living room. And Shen Xian, who pursued me for 4 years, followed behind, dressed in a gown. She looked more mature and poised than in college. She didn't see me. She was just chatting absent-mindedly with Ling Fan. I was standing there quietly, but my arm was grabbed by Lu Li. She lowered her voice to scold me. Ling Yu, what are you still doing here? Do you still have hopes for Shen Xian? Let me tell you, she is your sister-in-law now. I shook her off, with a sneer on my face. I'm not interested in being a third party. Mr. Ling asked me to stay for a celebratory drink. Since I was old enough to understand, I have always called Ling Jinan Mr. Ling. Lu Shuochen gritted her teeth in anger. That was just a politeness, and you actually took it seriously. I see you really don't know your own place. On an occasion like today, even I can't go and embarrass the Ling family. Does an illegitimate child like you deserve a seat? Get out of here right now. Just as I was about to speak, I noticed Shen Youchu walking to the balcony to take a call. I brushed off Lu Li and followed her. Just as I approached, Shen Youchu, who was on the phone, hung up the call. Then she looked at me with a cold gaze. I paused, meeting her dangerous gaze. A smirk appeared on my lips. I tentatively called out, wife. Shen Youchu's eyes were cold. I stared straight at Shen Youchu, observing her reaction. But after hearing that term, she looked at me with an even colder aura, without a hint of emotional fluctuation. Then she turned to leave. I quickly stepped forward to block her path. You don't recognize me? Shen Youchu looked down at me. Move. Should I know you? Sir, I am married. Please behave yourself. I was a bit stunned. This person clearly doesn't know me, yet she says she's married. Could the Civil Affairs Bureau have registered the wrong info? May I ask who your husband is? None of your business. Another 4 ice-cold words. I took out the copy of the marriage certificate and handed it to her. Miss Shen, the woman listed here should be you, right? Shen Youchu's gaze fell on the man's name. Ling Yu, she said mockingly. Ling Yu. Mr. Ling, the original isn't that expensive, is it? If you're going to forge it, you should be more professional. After speaking, she didn't return to the living room. Instead, she strode from the small garden toward the parking lot. I chased after her, wanting to make things clear, but I was stopped by 2 bodyguards. I shouted at her back. Miss Shen, this document is real. If you don't believe me, you can check at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Shen Youchu got in the car and left immediately. Her personal assistant stayed behind. I returned to the living room and ran into Ling Fan. He happened to see me pestering Shen Youchu. His eyes flickered. Ling Jinan, on the other hand, was deeply worried. Why did Miss Shen leave? Was there something lacking in our hospitality? Ling Fan clenched his fists. His tone was hesitant. I saw Ling Yu pestering Miss Shen. Miss Shen left in a rage. She also left a message. She said you should properly discipline your family. Ling Yu doing this. Will the Shen family think our family lacks proper upbringing? Ling Jinan's face instantly turned ashen. On the other side, while I was frustrated after losing track of Shen Youchu on my e-bike, my phone suddenly rang. After answering, a woman's voice came from the other end. Boss, information on Shen Youchu has been found. Shen Youchu is the second daughter of the Shen patriarch. Rumor has it she is cold-blooded and ruthless. That's why she was sent abroad from a young age. Everyone thought the Shen family would hand it over to the eldest son, which is Shen Xian's father. No one expected that Shen Youchu suddenly returned to the country last week, using some unknown ruthless means, forcing the old man to step down, and directly took control of the Shen group. I frowned and said, check her contact information and itinerary. I'll go find her later. After hanging up the phone, I rubbed my temples. Things are a bit troublesome. With a status like Shen Youchu's, it's indeed not easy to meet her. I shouldn't have been so mouthy today, calling her wife, and making her leave in anger. I sighed, started my beat-up bike and slowly headed home, leaving the bustling city center, and arriving at a village within the city in the suburbs. When I first moved out of the Ling family home, I didn't have much money, so I could only rent an old house here. I got used to it later, and never moved. Just as I was about to turn the corner to get home, an old lady in her 80s or 90s suddenly dashed out from the roadside. I braked sharply, almost crashing into her. I thought it was a scam attempt, but I soon noticed the elderly woman was dressed decently, with a tag hanging around her neck, which had a contact number on it. At the end, it noted that if the elderly woman went missing, please call the contact number. A reward will be given. Clearly, the old lady had Alzheimer's. I immediately took out my phone and entered the number from the tag. However, the dazed old lady in front of me suddenly grabbed my wrist. Her eyes lit up. Grandson-in-law. You are my grandson-in-law. My lip twitched. Single for 22 years. How did I suddenly get another wife today? I found it funny and casually asked, Grandma, who is your granddaughter? What is her name? Oh, right. Her name is Shen. Shen what again? The name she just remembered was forgotten the moment she tried to say it. The old lady was a bit anxious. Her mouth opened and closed, but she just couldn't say those words. Don't worry, ma'am. It's okay if you can't remember. After comforting her, I dialed the number 069992 at this moment, on a nearby street. Shen Youchu was sitting in a Bentley with a grim expression. Her subordinate, Lu Chang, didn't even dare to breathe. It was my failure in caregiving that caused the old lady to go missing. She didn't speak, exuding a cold aura. The old lady is dazed most of the time. Who would have thought she would suddenly improve today and sneak out after sending everyone away? Only after checking the surveillance did they find that the old lady had actually taken a bus to the suburbs by herself. This area is quite dilapidated. Many streets don't have cameras installed, so they could only search the area systematically. Just then, her phone suddenly rang. Shen Youchu answered immediately. My calm voice came from the other end. Hello, the elderly person from your family is currently with me. After hearing this, The atmosphere in the car froze instantly. Everyone reacted immediately. Some were preparing to call the police. Lu Chang was also tracking the signal source of the call. Shen Youchu's gaze was sharp. Her voice was cold as she asked, "How much money do you want?" "Just kidding. I just wanted to tell you to take better care of the elderly in the future." Then I gave the address and hung up. 5 minutes later, they arrived at the old lady's location, but I had already left. Only a police officer was there with the old lady. Shen Youchu asked, "Grandma, how did you get here?" The old lady said mysteriously, "I came to find my grandson-in-law. He lives nearby." Shen Youchu paused slightly. "Grandma, there is no grandson-in-law. Impossible. I saw him, that heartless man. He just left me with the police." "Right. Give me your phone for a second." Shen Youchu handed the phone to her. The elderly woman then took from the contacts the recent incoming call number and wrote it in a notebook. She said happily, "Finally, I have my grandson-in-law's contact info." Early the next morning, I received a call from my university mentor, Professor Wan. As soon as I entered the office, I found Ling Fan and Lu Li were also there. Ling Fan and I are both at Haicheng University. He considers himself a top student, and to avoid overshadowing him, I deliberately chose the most obscure energy and power major. But unexpectedly, new energy suddenly became popular 2 years ago. Ling Fan immediately switched majors, and became my classmate again. Ling Fan being here is normal enough, but why is Lu Li here? Just as I thought this, I saw Professor Wen with a serious expression. "Ling Yu, your recommendation for graduate school has been cancelled. Your mother said your character and background are improper, and don't meet the requirements for the recommendation. Is there some misunderstanding between you and your mother? Apologize to her quickly. You have a promising future. Don't ruin your future over a momentary impulse." Ling Fan sighed. "Ling Yu, your mother is only doing this for your own good." He turned to look at me. "You offended Miss Shen. Miss Shen said she wants you to disappear from Haicheng." It took me a while to realize that Miss Shen referred to Shen Youchu, but I only spoke a few words to her. Besides, before she left yesterday, she didn't seem angry at all. On the contrary, Ling Fan is used to lying. While I was thinking, Ling Fan walked up to me. "Ling Yu, here is the plane ticket Dad bought for you. He wants you to go abroad to lay low for a while. Otherwise, even the Ling family can't protect you." A flash of mockery crossed my eyes. Isn't it just that they're afraid I'll affect the Ling family? Seeing that I didn't take it, Ling Fan took out a bank card. "Are you worried about surviving abroad? There are 50,000 yuan here. This is my personal allowance for you. Use it for now. If it's not enough, I'll give you more when I get my pocket money." The great eldest son of the Ling family only has 50,000 yuan? I found it laughable. But then Lu Li suddenly snatched the bank card. "Ling Fan, what are you doing? The Ling family is already being generous by buying him a ticket. They've done more than enough." She glared at me and commanded, "Pack your things and go abroad immediately. I've already handled your withdrawal from school." I looked at her coldly. "What right do you have to make decisions for me? Because I am your mother. Besides, with your grades, you'll probably struggle to even graduate. Better to leave early and go work to earn money." Professor Wen couldn't help but speak. "Ling Yu's mother, you've misunderstood. During student Ling's time at school." Before he could finish, Lu Li interrupted him. "Professor, you don't need to speak for him. Don't I know exactly what he's like? Isn't he applying for grad school just because Ling Fan is? He should take a good look in the mirror and see what he actually is. What right does he have to compare himself to Ling Fan?" Professor Wen was speechless for a moment. He looked at Ling Fan in surprise. "I recall you weren't recommended for grad school, nor did you take the graduate entrance exam." Ling Fan smiled modestly. "I took the special recruitment route." Seeing the professor's inquiry, he pretended to be humble. "It's Dr. Yu. His research on hydrogen clean fuel was successful. He applied for a patent and was awarded a doctorate." I was surprised. "Dr. Yu? How come I didn't know I was being specially recruited?" To repay Mrs. Ling's kindness, over the years, I have always used Dr. Yu's name to provide technical support for the Ling family company, and even fabricated a sponsored identity. Ling Fan continued to fabricate. "My mother sponsored Dr. Yu's education back then, so after finishing his studies, Dr. Yu found my family, saying my mother was his lifesaver. Over the years, he has been providing technical support for our family company. He likely wouldn't refuse any of my requests." Professor Wen believed it, and asked where Dr. Yu was employed. He said, "The dean will invite Dr. Yu to teach at our school." Professor Wen was overjoyed, and said to me, "Ling Yu, your research direction is the same as Dr. Yu's. I'll introduce you to him then. If Dr. Yu is willing to speak for you, maybe your postgraduate recommendation still has hope. Ling Fan pretended to look worried. Professor 1, is that really okay? The Shen family is the richest family in Haicheng. They give our school a lot of research funding every year. Dr. Yu is extremely influential right now. If Dr. Yu steps in, the school will definitely choose Dr. Yu. Ling Fan sighed. But Dr. Yu is doing this for my mother's sake. If it were me, he would definitely do everything he could to help. But Ling Yu is my father's illegitimate son. He stands against my mother. Ling Yu, why don't I ask Dr. Yu for you? I coldly refused. Ling Fan looked like a complete clown now. I said to Professor 1, Professor 1, you know, I never wanted to go to grad school anyway. Luli curled her lips. Stop wasting your effort. You offended Miss Shen. And you still want to find a job in Haicheng? Keep dreaming. I don't believe anyone can really rule Haicheng alone. If you truly can't find a job, come be my teaching assistant. Professor 1 was furious. Then he turned to me gently. Warmth rose in my heart. Professor, Miss Shen and I only have a small misunderstanding. Once it's cleared up, everything will be fine. Please don't worry. Seeing this, Ling Fan clenched his fists. His tone turned sarcastic. Ling Yu, are you still going to pester Miss Shen? She's already married. This really isn't appropriate. Luli was furious as expected. Then she slapped me across the face. I looked at Luli in disbelief. I never expected her to attack me in front of Professor 1. Luli felt no guilt at all. She pointed at my nose and scolded me. It's been years since we last met. I see you've forgotten the family rules. Apologize to your brother right now, and promise you'll never see the Shen family again. The warmth in my eyes slowly faded, leaving only coldness. It seemed she hadn't taken my last warning seriously at all. Did she still see me as that obedient, ignorant boy who worshipped Ling Fan? Since reason won't work, don't blame me for showing no mercy. Ling Fan watched from the side. A smug feeling rose in his heart. When we were young, I bowed and scraped before him. I never talked back when scolded. I never fought back when hit. Later, after I moved away, we met again at university. He still looked poor and shabby, but he dared stand tall in front of me. Had he forgotten his place after a few years without being beaten? Today, Luli would teach him a lesson. Just as Ling Fan thought this, he saw me slowly walk up to him. As he curled his lips, thinking I was about to apologize, I suddenly raised my head. My fist slammed hard into his face. Ling Fan's head spun. He was beaten senseless. Luli roared and rushed over. Ling Yu, how could you hit him? I suddenly turned my head. A murderous aura radiated from me. Luli froze in shock at the sight of me. What are you trying to do? You ungrateful brat. I am your mother. Are you really going to hit me too? My voice was ice cold as I said word by word. Since you are not a loving mother, don't blame me for being an unfilial son. Stop interfering in my life from now on. If you dare do anything to me again, I'll pay it back double on Ling Fan. I withdrew my gaze. Then I bowed deeply to Professor 1. I thanked him for taking care of me for the past 4 years, and said I would return after resolving my matters. After leaving those words, I turned and left without hesitation. Only after I disappeared from the room, did Luli slowly come back to her senses. At that moment, I had just walked out of the school gate. You called me. Boss, I found it out. I understand why Shen Youchu says she's married publicly, but doesn't recognize you. On the surface, the Shen family looks glorious, but its internal fighting has been fierce these years. The old master favors the eldest branch. He wants to hand the Shen family to them. As the youngest daughter, Shen Youchu has been suppressed all along. A few years ago, the old master picked several unreliable men for Shen Youchu to marry into an alliance. The matter caused a huge fight, until Shen Youchu said she had already registered her marriage with a husband from an ordinary family. The matter finally ended. When mentioning her husband, it's quite interesting. He has never appeared in public, nor attended any of the Shen family's banquets. In summary, there is only one truth, and that is, Yu dragged out her voice to create suspense. But before she could say the result, I had already realized it. Did you find her itinerary and contact information? Yu was stunned for a moment and scolded. Her itinerary for the next few days. I'll send it to you in a moment. Her private phone number couldn't be found. It's fine. I'll go ambush her. For someone of Shen Youchu's status, a private phone number is the most confidential. It's normal that it couldn't be found. Yu immediately gossiped. She's surrounded by bodyguards. It's not easy to get close to her. Are you planning to use forceful means, or keep a low profile for now? A rogue smile curled on my lips. At the entrance of the Shen group, I straightened my delivery driver uniform, held a package, walked in, and told the receptionist, "This is a delivery for Miss Shen. It needs to be signed for in person." After the receptionist called the secretary's office, I was allowed to go upstairs. I took the private elevator to the 88th floor. Stepping out of the elevator, the view instantly opened up. An entire department of the secretary's office, over 100 people working here, all serving only Shen Youchu. I followed the secretary who came to get me, and successfully arrived at the CEO's office. I knocked on the door. A pleasant voice came from inside. "Come in." Just when I thought I'd see Shen Youchu smoothly, a figure suddenly blocked my way. "Stop right there." Lu Chang frowned and looked me over. "Mr. Ling, why is it you?" Lu Chang's expression was very poor. He still remembered me harassing Shen Youchu at the Ling house yesterday. Shen Youchu didn't hold it against me, but today I had the nerve to disguise myself as a delivery man to pester her again. He beckoned 2 bodyguards over. "What's going on?" "Without checking identities, can any random person just come to the top floor? Kick him out immediately." My expression remained unchanged. "What do you mean by this? Does the Shen group look down on us delivery drivers?" Lu Chang sneered. "You really know how to play the victim. We respect every job. But are you a delivery driver? Do you have a delivery driver's ID?" Just as Lu Chang finished speaking, a work ID was held up in front of him. Position, delivery driver. His expression stiffened. "You didn't just register today, did you?" The work ID was opened. Number 001. The registration date was marked on it. Registered under Ting Yue Group. Lu Chang was stunned. 8 years ago, you really were a delivery driver. Is working while studying not allowed? My voice was lazy as I spoke to the person inside. "Miss Shen, can you cooperate with my work now?" A pleasant voice came from the room. "Let him in." I gave Lu Chang a provocative glance. Seeing that he was about to explode, I finally bypassed him and entered. Shen Youchu's office was in a simple yet luxurious style, making the place feel completely cold. After signing the documents at hand, Shen Youchu finally looked up. No emotion could be seen in her bright eyes. I pointed to the delivery slip. "Miss Shen, please sign here." Her gaze lingered on me for a moment, then she took the pen and signed. At that moment, I suddenly spoke shockingly. "Miss Shen, actually, you aren't married at all, are you?" The woman's pen paused and hit the desk. She looked up, her cold gaze locking onto me. I knew I had guessed correctly. When registering information at the Civil Affairs Bureau, personal details must be filled in by hand, so there's no way it could be wrong. Shen Youchu claimed to be married to the public, yet she didn't know me at all. After GU's investigation, the truth could only be that Shen Youchu, to deal with her family's pressure to marry, invented a fake husband for the public. She had never been to the Civil Affairs Bureau, so she didn't know that we were married. I said seriously, "Miss Shen, I know my words sound a bit absurd, but we really are married." Shen Youchu slowly sat up with poise. A hint of amusement appeared on her face. "Mr. Ling, don't waste your effort. Even if I were unmarried, I would never marry you just to spite Shen Xin." I was slightly stunned. She only knew about my past with Shen Xin, and thought I sought her out for revenge. That's why she kept refusing to believe me. I hurriedly explained. "I didn't come for you because of Shen Xin. I want to divorce you. I'm not interested in your emotional entanglements." Shen Youchu interrupted me. After signing quickly, she handed the delivery slip to me. "Stop harassing me. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless." Hearing this, I got a bit irritated. "Haven't you already been ruthless to me? You've already said I should disappear from Haicheng." Shen Youchu frowned. "When did I?" Before she could finish, the phone suddenly rang. It was the special ringtone for her grandmother. She answered immediately. The caregiver's voice came from the other end. "Miss Shen, the old lady has disappeared again." Shen Youchu hurriedly and anxiously walked out. I wanted to chase after her to make things clear, but I was stopped by Lu Chang again. "Mr. Ling, I suggest you stop here." And so, I was asked to leave the Shen group. Just as I reached my doorstep, I suddenly looked back, and saw the old lady I met last time, sneaking behind me stealthily. I looked helpless. Just as I was about to speak, the little old lady grabbed my wrist. "Grandson-in-law, don't even think about abandoning me again." Inside the rented house, the old lady sat by the dining table, and drank 3 glasses of water in a row. I frowned and said seriously, "I really am not your grandson-in-law." "You are." The little old lady stubbornly hugged her cup and gulped down another glass. I knew I couldn't explain it to her. I took out my phone and dialed that number from last time. It rang once and was answered immediately. "Hello." I felt the woman's voice was somewhat familiar. Just as I was about to say something, the phone was suddenly snatched away by the old lady. At this moment, Shen Youchu was searching nearby with a group of people. She looked calm on the surface, but she was anxious deep down. Grandma didn't just have Alzheimer's. For an 87-year-old, her organs had long begun to deteriorate. There was a risk to her life at any moment. The moment the phone rang, she answered immediately. Then she heard Grandma's energetic voice from the other end. "You brat, don't come pick me up. I'm with my grandson-in-law." The phone number belonged to that boy from last time, so Grandma was with him again. Shen Youchu asked with a dark expression. "Where are you?" "Not telling you. Do you think I can't find you if you don't tell me? You're not allowed to look for me, and you're not allowed to send people to track me." Shen Youchu scratched her head, covering the microphone. She whispered to the attending physician about the old lady's condition. "Can we bring her back by force?" The doctor shook his head and whispered back. "The old lady cannot be subjected to any stimulation right now. It's best to just go along with her wishes. That boy from last time didn't seem like a bad person either." Shen Youchu looked helpless and coaxed her through the phone again. "Grandma, I still need to bring you your medicine." "No need for medicine. I have it with me. Just relax. Just wait for me to coax my grandson-in-law home." After the little old lady said this, she hung up the phone immediately. She returned the phone to me with a proud look. "Grandson-in-law, it's settled." I was completely bewildered. What kind of unreliable relative is this? Just handing an elderly person over to a stranger like this. Just as I was about to call back, a notification sound from the messaging app rang. Someone requested to add me as a friend via phone number. The message said elderly's granddaughter. I accepted the friend request. The granddaughter soon sent a message. "Please take care of my grandmother for a while. She hasn't been feeling well lately. She cannot be subjected to any stimulation." I sneered. Holding the phone, I coldly replied, "Inconvenient. This isn't a charity." I hadn't finished typing. Suddenly, I heard a noise from the kitchen. I hurried over. I found the old lady boiling eggs. I asked casually, "You can't just eat eggs if you're hungry." A kind smile appeared on the old lady's wrinkled face. "Grandson-in-law, applying an egg to your face can reduce the swelling." I was stunned. Perhaps I hadn't even noticed it myself. After being hit by my biological mother today, although I seemed not to care, in reality, I was shrouded in a layer of coldness, separating me from the world. At this moment, the old lady's words dispelled the coldness, and warmth returned to my eyes. Then I looked at my phone again, and saw the granddaughter's chat interface. Suddenly, a splash of orange appeared. "Received a transfer of 300,000. With a note. This is the living expenses for the week. Tell me if it's not enough." I looked at my input field and re-edited the message. 123 VBNM. Alright then. I don't know why I suddenly started meddling. I thought it must be because she gave me too much. Meanwhile, at the Ling residence, Ling Fan's cheek was badly swollen, with a clear fist mark. Lu Li lowered her head. "That little animal, Ling Yu, must be jealous that you're marrying Miss Shen Xin. Wait until your father returns." Just then, Li Xia walked down from upstairs, frail and ill. Her voice was weak, but her tone was firm. "Ling Yu isn't like that. You must have done something to provoke him first." Seeing this, Ling Fan, though unwilling, changed the subject. "Could you invite Dr. Yu to be a mentor at Haiching University?" Mrs. Ling immediately refused sternly. "Ling Fan, one cannot repay kindness with betrayal. Besides, for all these years, Dr. Yu has done enough for the family company." Ling Fan wasn't surprised at all. "Haicheng University is the best university here. Perhaps Dr. Yu wants to go himself. It's a good chance to help him connect with the school, which can be seen as repaying Dr. Yu for his years of help." Mrs. Ling thought this made sense, so she took out her phone and opened WeChat. "Then I'll ask him." Ling Fan, sitting beside Mrs. Ling, said, "Dr. Yu has done so much for our family. Any debt of gratitude has long been paid. Shouldn't the family host a banquet for him? Wouldn't it be better to ask him in person then? Dr. Yu always complies with Mrs. Ling's requests, as long as he comes. If I then ask to be his graduate student, Dr. Yu certainly won't refuse." Mrs. Ling was convinced. She sent a message to Dr. Yu on WeChat. "Xiao Yu, do you have time to visit the house?" After I saw this message, my heart immediately leaped. Why would Mrs. Ling suddenly ask to meet? Could it be that her health has worsened? Thinking of Mrs. Ling's coughing, I became extremely anxious. I stood up and walked out. "I'm free. I'm coming over now." But just as I was about to rush out, Mrs. Ling's WeChat message arrived. "I'd like to invite you for a simple meal." Only then did I realize I was panicking out of concern. Recalling the scene of being ousted from the Ling family 10 years ago, a bitter smile appeared on the corners of my lips. "After so many years, it's about time we met." Then I replied to the message, "I should be the one treating you. Saturday at 6 p.m. Be there or be square." After saying that, I sent the restaurant's location. When I exited the chat with Mrs. Ling, I found that Shen Youchu had sent several messages. The content was some reminders on taking care of the old lady. Seeing this, I quietly walked into the second bedroom and took a short video for Shen Youchu. On the nearby street, two fully equipped nanny vans were parked discreetly. Shen Youchu was sitting on the sofa working on her laptop. Suddenly, a WeChat notification sounded. Shen Youchu picked it up and took a look. Then, that eternally unchanging ice-cold face actually showed a hint of surprise. The family doctor immediately asked, "Did something happen to the old lady?" Shen Youchu pursed her lips and handed him the video. In it, the old lady was lying on floral bedsheets, sleeping soundly. It was only 9 p.m. Usually, if the old lady could fall asleep before 1 a.m., it would be a blessing. The family doctor was completely stunned. The old lady treats this boy very differently. If he can stay with the old lady, her health will surely improve. Shen Youchu's gaze deepened, as if she were pondering something. The next morning, I received a message from Shen Youchu. After some chatting, it always gave Shen Youchu a feeling, as if she were talking to an old friend. She suddenly asked if she could visit grandma tonight. Of course, welcome anytime. Then I sent her the specific address. At this moment, I was waiting outside, bored. Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded. I turned my head and saw a familiar face. It was Shen Xin. The face that was always gentle and considerate in my memory was now looking at me gloomily. During college, I was always alone, but Shen Xin was passionate and cheerful, and always stuck to my side. She was practically my only friend, but now our statuses were a bit awkward. I hesitated for a moment before speaking. "Is something wrong?" Shen Xin sneered. "Ling Fan told me about your background. Why did you keep it a secret? While I, like a fool, chased someone like you for 4 years. Is it fun?" My heart felt as if it were being gripped tightly by a giant hand. I didn't expect 4 years of friendship to be shattered so easily. I took a step back to distance myself from her. But Shen Xin stepped forward to question me. "Don't you have anything to explain to me?" I sneered and said no. After saying that, I turned to leave. Since she looked down on my origin, then this friendship isn't worth keeping. My resolute manner made Shen Xin inexplicably irritated. Seeing me drift further and further away, without thinking, she grabbed my wrist. "You can't leave." I looked back at her. "What else is there?" Shen Xion's face tightened. Anger surged in her heart. Clearly, I was the one who let go first. Why does it feel like I'm the one being abandoned? Then I heard her mocking voice. "You're still working part-time here, which means you haven't found a formal job yet, right? Why don't you become my personal assistant?" I broke free from her grip and coldly refused. "I'm afraid I'm not qualified." But Shen Xian persisted. "You don't have to do anything. I have an apartment near the company. You just need to live there and attend to my daily needs. I'll give you 50,000 a month. Is that enough?" My gaze instantly turned cold. "You want me to be your mistress?" Shen Xin sneered. "You're definitely qualified for this. After all, your mother was a mistress. You've been exposed to it since childhood. It's practically a family tradition. I believe you'll be professional." Hearing this, I threw her to the ground, looking at her coldly. "Enough." But after standing up, she laughed instead of getting angry. "I'll give you time to think about it. If you change your mind, come find me anytime." After leaving those words, Shen Xin left. I gave a self-deprecating smile. In the evening, Shen Youchu finished work on time and came to the old residential area in the suburbs. She was carrying fruit in her hand, knocking on the door according to the address on the app, looking very healthy. Only then did she look around. Although it was only a small 2-bedroom of 60 square meters, it was very tidy and cozy. Only the sound of running water from the shower was coming from the bathroom. Shen Youchu withdrew her gaze as if she had been electrocuted. The family doctor followed behind her. Just as he was about to enter, he was stopped by her. "Give me the equipment. You wait in the car." Shen Youchu quickly and simply measured the elderly woman's blood pressure, blood sugar, heart rate, etc. Perhaps the old lady slept well last night. All the values were actually very healthy. The old lady said proudly, "My grandson-in-law takes such great care of me." Seeing is believing. Shen Youchu finally felt relieved. Her gaze flickered toward the bathroom again. Finally, she packed the equipment. "Since you are fine, I'll be leaving now." The old lady was stunned. "Aren't you staying for dinner? My grandson-in-law's cooking is delicious. It's not very convenient." Shen Youchu put down the examination equipment. "Leave this here." The old lady's eyes rolled. "Take it away. My grandson-in-law won't know how to use it if it's left here. And I don't want Dr. Xiaofang to come here. I want you to come and check on me every day." Shen Youchu was about to say something. The sound of water in the bathroom suddenly stopped. She immediately immediately stood up, hurriedly left the room carrying the medical kit. Then I'll be going now. I'll come again tomorrow. The moment the door closed, I happened to walk out of the bathroom dressed. Where is your granddaughter? She's gone. It's inconvenient to say. She's just too proper, and likes to keep a cold face. Grandson-in-law. Is that why you don't like her? She can change all of that. I am not your grandson-in-law. You are. I felt helpless. After spending these 2 days together, I found the old lady to be very kind. She indulged me in everything, except she was very stubborn about this one thing. A few days later, the old lady suddenly said she wanted to go home to get some clothes, so I sent a message to the granddaughter, asked for the address, but when I opened the location, I was stunned. Number 1 Manor. Isn't this the Shen family's place? It's the most famous wealthy area in Haicheng. I thought the old lady's home was one of those small villas. I didn't dare think it was the Shen family, but after arriving at the destination, I looked up at the antique style in front of me, and the imposing black gate with exquisite carvings, hesitatingly saying, "Grandmother, is this your home?" The old lady's eyes were sleepy. Her gaze was a bit blank. Grandson-in-law, I can't remember. Helplessly, I had to message the granddaughter. The granddaughter replied immediately, "Wait there for a moment. I'll be there soon." Not long after, a luxury car stopped in front of us. Ling Fan and Luli got out from the back seat and rushed up to us. Luli's brow was tightly furrowed. "Ling Yu, it really is you. What are you doing here?" Today, in the capacity of a nanny, she accompanied Ling Fan to visit the Shen family. From afar, she saw someone lingering in front of the Shen family gate. She didn't expect it to actually be me. Ling Fan looked at the tightly closed gates of the Shen family. "Ling Yu, are you here to pester Miss Shen Youchu again?" As soon as these words were spoken, Luli shouted angrily, "You animal, don't you see what day it is today? Get lost right now. If you ruin Ling Fan's engagement, I won't be done with you." Although I was truly sick of them, but the old lady was here. I didn't want to conflict with them, so I suppressed my impatience and explained, "I'm taking the elderly woman home and took the wrong path." Ling Fan subconsciously blurted out, "Isn't this your wife's grandmother? How could she possibly live in this neighborhood?" I retorted, "Why wouldn't it be possible?" Beside him, Luli scolded me harshly, "Stop pretending. How could the grandmother of your broke wife live here?" She looked directly at the old lady. "You old thing, then tell me, which villa do you live in?" I frowned upon hearing this. Just as I was about to say something, the old lady suddenly stood up. "I remember now. I live right here. Grandson-in-law, come home with me." She grabbed my hand and walked toward the Shen family gate. There was still 100 meters to the gate, but after just 2 steps, Ling Fan spoke up, "Ling Yu, you've made so many excuses. Isn't this just using the old lady as a shield to get into the Shen family?" I paused my steps, and suddenly looked ahead at the Shen family estate. Although when I saw these magnificent gates, I had some vague suspicions in my heart, but I couldn't connect the WeChat contact, that polite granddaughter, with the cold and ruthless Shen Youchu. Perhaps the old lady remembered incorrectly. Just as I was planning to confirm again, Luli suddenly rushed over and grabbed for the old lady. "You're not allowed to go to the Shen family to cause trouble." I was startled. My hand protected the old lady. My hand grabbed Luli, pushed her away forcefully. "What are you doing?" Luli was pushed back several steps. Once she regained her balance, she immediately cursed him as an ingrate. "You actually beat your own mother for this old thing. I'm calling the police." I ignored her, hurriedly looked at the old lady. The old lady had never been cursed at like this. As expected, she was shaking all over with anger. Her hand was pressed against her chest. Her body began to tremble uncontrollably. I hurried to support her, immediately took the emergency heart pills from her pocket. However, after opening the cap, I found it was empty. My pupils contracted. The elderly woman's health is very poor. Unless absolutely necessary, CPR is not suitable. Medication is best. I suddenly looked at that big gate. The Shen family must have medicine. Even if the old lady isn't a member of the Shen family, she's still their neighbor. They won't just stand by and watch her die. I picked up the old lady, but Ling Fan grabbed my arm forcefully. "Ling Yu, don't be like this. The Shen family won't let you in." He looked at the old lady. A gloom flashed in his eyes. At this moment, I felt like I was going crazy with rage. My eyes were filled with overwhelming fury. I raised my foot and kicked him to the ground. But the next moment, my leg was tightly grabbed again. Luli sat on the ground, clinging to me with all her might, regardless of her image. I was shaking all over with rage, because I was worried about the old lady in my arms. I actually couldn't break free. Just then, a black Bentley slowly drove drove up. Shen Youchu got out and asked sharply, "What are you doing?" Ling Fan spoke up hurriedly. "Miss Shen, it's Ling Yu. He insists on taking a dying old lady to the Shen house to scam them. It's my fault for not stopping him." Hearing this, after Shen Youchu saw that I was holding her grandmother, her pupils contracted sharply. She strode toward us. Grandmother is the person she's closest to. The elderly woman's health has deteriorated over the years. Shen Youchu was clearly panicked to the extreme. I didn't have time to explain. Hurriedly said, "The old lady is having a heart attack. The medicine she carries has just run out. With timely medication, she will be fine." Shen Youchu pursed her lips, took the grandmother, and rushed into the Shen house without looking back. I couldn't follow her in, because my leg was still being held by Lu Li. Ling Fan was still suspicious of the old lady's identity, but Lu Li let go of me, brushed off the dust and sneered, "Isn't it just because of this that you're rushing into the Shen house with that old hag?" At this time, the Shen family gate opened. Shen Xin walked out. Ling Fan had a flattering look on his face. "Sister Shen Xin, you could have just waited for me in the parking lot. Why did you come all the way to the gate?" Shen Xin forced a bit of tenderness. "I was afraid you wouldn't find the way on your first visit." She then looked at me. The original tenderness instantly turned into hostility. "Ling Yu, did you come to see me because you've come to your senses?" I kept a grim face and didn't speak. "If you've come to your senses, just call me. Who allowed you to come to the Shen house? Is the Shen gate a place a bastard like you can enter?" Shen Xin sneered. "But if you really want to go in and take a look, you can." "Sister, you've misunderstood," Ling Fan interrupted. Ling Yu was waiting for his wife's grandmother. The elderly lady just had a sudden heart attack, and was carried in by Miss Shen Youchu for emergency treatment. Shen Xin's eyes suddenly reddened. She said through gritted teeth, "What wife? Who is that woman?" I looked at her mockingly. "Shen Xin, who my wife is has nothing to do with you." "How is it nothing to do with me? I want to see, without my consent, who dares to marry you." Ling Fan hurriedly answered. "According to Ling Yu's mother, she's some delinquent girl." Shen Xin clenched her fists. "You degrade yourself like this? Impressive. A bastard and a thug are truly a perfect match." Ling Fan continued to exaggerate. "Ling Yu must be very unwilling to let go, right? That's why he keeps pestering Miss Shen Youchu." I sneered coldly. "Ling Fan, you call yourself the eldest young master of the Ling family, but why is your head filled with nothing but thieves and prostitutes? Is there nothing else?" Hearing this, Ling Fan's face stiffened and he clenched his fists. "I know you're doing this to get revenge on me and sister Shen Xin, but Miss Shen Youchu has been married for a long time. You shouldn't try to ruin someone else's marriage." Shen Xin was furious hearing this. She had been waiting for my call these past 2 days, thinking that if I softened and begged for mercy, she might let me go. It turns out I had already found someone else. Thinking of this, she suddenly became enraged. "I knew it. How could your wife's grandmother fall ill at my doorstep? So you came here for my aunt. Ling Yu, how can you be so shameless?" Fuming, she pointed at me and told the guard, "Do you see clearly? Remember this face. Don't let him step a single foot into the Shen house again." Ling Fan lowered his head to hide a smug smile. At the gates of the Shen family, Shen Xin could still make some decisions. However, in the next moment, the Shen family's internal butler walked out from the door. His gaze swept across everyone. Then he came before me. "Mr. Ling Yu, Miss Shen Youchu invites you inside." Ling Fan was stunned. Shen Xin was speechless. I looked up at the guard with a half smile. "So, can I go in now?" The guard glanced cautiously at Shen Xin, then opened the door without hesitation. Who holds the power in the Shen family? He understood very well. After entering the house, Shen Xin and her group followed behind. Lu Li glared at me. "Miss Shen Youchu probably asked you to pick up your grandmother. Once you've picked her up, be sensible and leave quickly. Don't dare to dirty the Shen family's carpet." With those words, the group entered the living room together, and they saw old Mrs. Shen sitting in the main seat of the sofa. The old lady glared at them. "You wicked woman, who are you calling an animal?" The old lady was now wearing luxurious clothes, but her complexion was still not great. Shen Youchu sat coldly to her left. Lu Li stood frozen in place. Ling Fan's legs went weak, and he almost collapsed to the floor. Luckily, Shen Xin supported him. "What's wrong with you?" Ling Fan's hands were shaking. He suddenly gave a bitter smile. "Ling Yu, why did you lie to us, saying old Mrs. Shen is your wife's grandmother? You made us disrespectful toward the old madam." I instantly felt several suspicious gazes in the room turned toward me. Lu Li also realized, knowing that the old madam has dementia. "You actually dared to deceive her. What do you take the Shen family for? Kneel down and apologize right now." My eyes darkened. Do they want to push all the blame onto me? Ling Fan is using this to clear his name. What a clever trick. Smash! A teacup was thrown by the old lady, hitting Luli directly. The scalding tea inside spilled all over her, but Luli didn't dare to scream. "You scoundrel!" the old madam shouted. "He is my grandson-in-law." Luli, enduring the pain of the burn, said, "Old madam, you've been deceived by him. I'm certain his wife is just a thug." "Stop arguing. Why not just ask the person involved?" Beside them, Shen Xian's mother spoke. "Yuchu, is he really your husband?" I looked silently at Shen Youchu, and then I heard the expected answer. "No." What an ungrateful woman, returning kindness with enmity. A flash of anger crossed my eyes. Ling Fan looked delighted, and immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Luli curled her lip and said, "I told you, this was all Ling Yu's doing." I sneered, and was about to speak, when the woman's voice sounded again. Grandmother mistook him for someone else, so I asked Mr. Ling Yu to help take care of grandmother for a while. Everyone fell silent. No one expected it to develop this way. After a long pause, Ling Fan lowered his head. "So that's how it is. Ling Yu, why didn't you tell us the truth? If you had said it sooner, this misunderstanding wouldn't have happened." Mr. Ling Fan. Shen Youchu leaned back on the sofa. Her posture was casual, but her tone was commanding, hiding behind others and shifting responsibility. "Is this how the Ling family teaches its juniors?" Old Madam Shen was prompted by these words. She immediately said angrily, "Do you think I'm senile? That I can't see through your little tricks? Making mistakes and showing no remorse, and even trying to shift the blame. You two are truly shameless." Old Madam Shen looked directly at Shen Xian. "Cancel the engagement. I won't recognize this great-grandson-in-law." Ling Fan froze. The marriage he worked so hard for couldn't just vanish like this. Then he looked at Shen Xian. But the woman looked dazed. Her gaze remained fixed on me. Clearly, she hadn't recovered from the shock of my marriage. Ling Fan clenched his fists. He lowered his head and walked up to Shen Xian. "Sister Shen Xian, it's my fault. Rest assured, even if the marriage is cancelled, I will still introduce you to the person I promised." Shen Xian snapped back to reality. Ling Fan still wanted to introduce her to Dr. Yu. In China's current new energy projects, Dr. Yu is one of the top figures. She hurriedly said to old Madam Shen, "Great-grandmother, Ling Fan didn't know, so please don't blame him. Please forgive him. Besides, the betrothal gifts have already been exchanged. It would be really inappropriate to cancel the engagement." Old Madam Shen gave her a deep look. "Whatever you want. Her great-granddaughter's affairs are for her parents to decide." She didn't want to interfere, but Shen Xian's mother smiled and said, "Grandma, have you forgotten to give the meeting gift?" Hearing this, old Madam Shen immediately lowered her eyelids. "I'll have someone transfer 180,000 to Shen Xian." Shen Xian's mother's expression froze. "But, didn't you say before you'd give the young couple a 2% share?" Fearing they'd be tight on money after the wedding. If we're talking about who was the wealthiest in the Shen family, then it must be old Madam Shen. She came from a wealthy family in Kyoto. Her own dowry was generous, and she controlled 20% of the Shen family's shares. Shen Xian's mother had long wanted to use the marriage to get a huge sum from her. It was all agreed upon, but the old madam changed her mind at the last minute. Old Madam Shen looked at her with a half-smile. "I am dissatisfied with this great-grandson-in-law, so I'm not giving it." Ling Fan's face turned pale, feeling deeply humiliated. There are many servants in the Shen family. This will definitely spread. By then, all of Haichang will know that he was rejected by the old madam. Wealthy families value face the most. Today, the old madam truly took his face and trampled it under her feet. But the old lady didn't care about any of that. After leaving those words, she directly pulled me and took Shen Youchu to the courtyard where she lived. Then she found an excuse to leave, telling Shen Youchu to properly entertain the grandson-in-law for her, and then hurriedly left with the others. In the blink of an eye, only Shen Youchu and I were left in the courtyard. In the night, Shen Youchu and I stood side by side. Just as I was hesitating on how to speak, Shen Youchu suddenly looked at me with a hint of disgust. "You lack backbone," not wanting to be outdone. I also suddenly looked at her seriously. "Silly girl." Shen Youchu's face turned livid. To think he coaxed grandma into saying even this. As expected, his intentions are impure. Grandma getting entangled with him might be an accident. There are no signs of calculation here. But this man's kindness in taking in grandma might be because grandma accidentally revealed her identity. I retorted to her, "Don't forget the main business. I remember you said in your text you'd do me a favor. Then can you go to the Civil Affairs Bureau with me to check the marriage status?" Shen Youchu's expression was gloomy. She said sharply and impatiently, "Fine, let's go then. If it's not true, I hope you stop using grandma grandma to pester me. The old lady's head popped out from the window. "You brat, are you bullying your grandson-in-law?" Hearing this, Shen Youchu's expression immediately froze. No, dinner was quite simple. 4 dishes and 1 soup. 3 people is just right for the meal. But the old lady had little appetite. She put down her chopsticks after a few bites. "Grandson-in-law, I'm tired. Let's go home. Please don't push yourself. Just rest at home tonight." This small courtyard is like a miniature nursing home, equipped with all sorts of medical devices. But the old lady nervously grabbed my hand. "Then can you stay and keep me company?" I frowned and glanced at Shen Youchu. Actually, I was also worried about the old lady. But this bitch dislikes me so much. Suspecting that I'm using the old lady to get close, she certainly wouldn't agree. Shen Youchu was silent for a moment. Fine. Then she gave me a meaningful glance. Obviously, she was doing it for grandma, warning me not to have any ulterior motives. After dinner, I escorted the old lady back to her room to rest. The old lady must have been truly exhausted today, having suffered another bout of illness. She fell into a heavy sleep as soon as she lay down. She slept very restlessly. Helplessly, I could only sit by the bed to accompany her. Outside the window, Shen Youchu looked serious. "What's going on with grandma?" The family doctor had studied psychology. She sighed. "Although I don't know why the old lady has taken a liking to this boy, but I can more or less guess why the old lady is so uneasy and terrified that the grandson-in-law might leave." Then the family doctor glanced at Shen Youchu again. "The old lady probably feels she won't make it through this year. She fears that once she's gone, you'll have nothing left to bind you. The grandson-in-law is the only person she can leave to accompany you." Shen Youchu was slightly stunned. In her dark eyes, uncontrollable emotions were churning. Only after a long while did they return to calm. She stood in the moonlight, as if she wanted to merge completely with the darkness behind her. After an unknown amount of time, the woman suddenly turned around and strode toward the main house. Ling Fan found this meal very difficult, because he had just lost 2% of the shares. Shen Xian's mother, Lu Meishan, was very dissatisfied. Her words to him were laced with sarcasm. "Isn't Ling Yu the illegitimate son of your family? How could he manage to please the old lady, while you can't?" Ling Fan could only lower his head and apologize. "Auntie, I'm not as silver-tongued as Ling Yu." Lu Meishan sneered. "I don't care what method you use. You must get those 2% shares back for me. Otherwise, don't even think about entering the Shen family." Ling Fan had grievances he couldn't express. After finally finishing the meal, he could finally ask to leave. But before he could leave, Shen Youchu returned. She brought a powerful sense of pressure the moment she entered. After scanning the leftovers on the dining table, her expression became even worse. "Grandma didn't eat anything tonight, yet they are here enjoying themselves." Lu Meishan caught a glimpse of her expression, and didn't dare to speak. It was Shen Xian's father, Shen Yuanjie, who frowned and asked, "Youchu, why are you here?" Shen Youchu ignored this nominal older brother. Her gaze shifted to Ling Fan. "Since the engagement wasn't cancelled, then he is considered a member of the Shen family now, right? Since he is a member of the Shen family, he must follow the Shen family rules. He defied his elders today. He is punished to kneel in the ancestral hall for 1 night." Without further discussion, she simply beckoned behind her. 2 bodyguards walked up to Ling Fan. "Young Master Ling, please." Ling Fan looked at Shen Xian for help, but saw that she didn't dare resist the power of the person in charge. He took a deep breath, and had no choice but to follow the bodyguards. Just before leaving, he heard Shen Xian ask, "Auntie, what about that Ling Yu? Did he leave?" Then came Shen Youchu's warning response. "He is my guest. He's staying at the Shen house tonight." Ling Fan arrived at the ancestral hall with the bodyguards. The young lady said, "You two aren't married yet, so you cannot enter the Shen family ancestral hall. Just kneel outside. The outside is a blue brick floor." Ling Fan wanted to say something more, but the 2 bodyguards kept their hands behind their backs, looking coldly at young Master Ling. It was very cold at night. Ling Fan shivered from the cold. The piercing cold entered the marrow of his bones through his knees. He wanted to slack off, but those 2 bodyguards stared at him like door gods. They didn't speak, but it sent chills down his spine. When I woke up the next day, I was already lying in bed, with a small pink blanket draped over me. It doesn't match the decor style of the little old lady's room. I didn't think much of it. After waking up and washing up, I had breakfast with the little old lady and Shen Youchu. There was a plate of fried sugar cakes on the table. The little old lady immediately took one. Shen Youchu frowned. Grandma has high blood sugar. She shouldn't eat things that are high in oil and sugar. While she was thinking about how to stop her, she heard me say calmly, "Grandma, these sugar cakes aren't suitable for you." Then, the greedy and stubborn little old lady. Put the sugar cake into my bowl. The little old lady gave a flattering smile. I'm giving it to you. Shen Youchu gave me a scrutinizing look, wondering why Grandma listened to me so much. I unceremoniously started eating the sugar cake. Then I looked at Shen Youchu. We're going to the Civil Affairs Bureau later. You need to bring your ID card and household register. The little old lady asked curiously. What are you going to the Civil Affairs Bureau for? The marriage certificate is lost. But unexpectedly, as soon as I said this, the little old lady spoke up. It's not lost. She hurried into the bedroom and quickly brought out 2 red marriage certificates, handing them to me and Shen Youchu. I stared at the marriage certificate in my hand, stunned. Suddenly I realized, the little old lady called me grandson-in-law the first time we met. She had known all along that we were married. I felt I had found a clue, so I immediately asked Grandma, why is the marriage certificate with you? The little old lady was stunned, her eyes becoming a bit vacant. I can't remember clearly. Then how did Miss Shen and I get married? The little old lady continued to shake her head. I don't remember. I got a bit anxious. Grandma, please think about it carefully. Enough. Shen Youchu let out a low scoff, stepping forward to block the way between me and the little old lady. She looked at me with cold eyes. Mr. Ling, this certificate is real. Next, are you going to say we don't need to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau? So this was your goal all along. First, use the excuse of the Civil Affairs Bureau to pester me openly, to set the stage and lure Grandma into producing this fake document, making her believe it's real. I felt a faint hint of murderous intent in her tone, and found it baffling. We don't have to go today. After all, the matter of divorce isn't something that can be solved by just visiting the Civil Affairs Bureau. 2 years of time. We have been husband and wife in the eyes of the law. It involves many issues of property division, so we need to sign a divorce agreement first. No. After Shen Youchu spoke, she stared at me intently, only to see me momentarily stunned. Before I said helplessly, as you wish. Is his acting too good? Or is this marriage certificate actually real? Shen Youchu suddenly became uncertain. She simply took the marriage certificate and left first. I'll wait for you in the parking lot. I gave the little old lady a reassuring smile. As soon as we arrived at the parking lot, we saw Luli supporting a pale-faced Ling fan. Seeing me come out, she rushed over righteously, insisting that I must help your brother. Ling Yu, you are an illegitimate son. But the Ling family didn't mind your origin and raised you. Even if you don't count the merit, count the effort. You should still repay the Ling family. These brainwashing words, I've heard for 20 years. Now I only find them laughable. Seeing my silence, Luli took the opportunity to say, now that you've grown up, you finally have the chance to repay the Ling family. Ling Yu, doesn't old Mrs. Shen listen to you quite well? Go and make her return that 2% share to your brother. After hearing this, I suddenly smiled. I'm just a lowly illegitimate son. How could old Mrs. Shen possibly listen to me? Luli was stunned, and wanted to say more, but I had already strode past her, and got straight into Shen Youchu's car. The car soon arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau. As soon as it stopped, Lu Chang hurriedly caught up. Boss, the driver said you drove off yourself, which scared me into following the GPS to catch up. Did something happen? Shen Youchu was extremely taciturn. Why did you come here? Could it be that you've really become paranoid from being pestered by Ling Yu? Please rest assured, I said, he will never see you again. Otherwise, I'll livestream myself eating shit. I sat in the back seat, my voice lazy. Which livestream room is yours? Lu Chang stiffened. And so, the three of us entered the service hall. Lu Chang asked first, hello, I'd like to ask, can a certificate be issued if the person isn't present? That's definitely not possible, the staff member replied. Lu Chang looked at me mockingly. Did you hear that? You've even prepared a fake certificate. I'm calling the police right now, to report you for forging documents and harassment. But Shen Youchu handed over the certificate. Please take a look, and see if this marriage certificate is authentic. After the staff member checked, they gave an answer. This certificate is real. How is that possible? Did you register the information incorrectly? Lu Chang exclaimed. Nonsense. Marriage is a serious matter. Both parties must have their identities carefully verified, and sign a guarantee letter. I quickly spoke up. Can we see our guarantee letters? Shen Youchu also nodded. Please get the guarantee letters. The staff member stood up helplessly. You two really are in sync. I'll go find them for you. 2 sets of registration documents were placed before us. I glanced at the handwriting. It was indeed my own. Lu Chang Chang leaned in and shouted, "Boss, this really is your handwriting." Shen Youchu fell silent. I looked at the staff member. "Hello, could we see the recording from the day we registered?" "Sorry, we only keep recordings for 6 months." The staff member repeatedly assured that there were absolutely no errors in the process. Both people must be present to get the certificate. The three of us walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Lu Chang was somewhat bewildered. "What do we do now?" Shen Youchu's eyes darkened. I raised an eyebrow. "Divorce." The two of us spoke in unison again. Lu Chang was stunned and asked again, "So, divorce now? Should we discuss the divorce terms? I'll have my lawyer contact you." "Talk to my lawyer." Shen Youchu and I spoke in unison for the third time. I chuckled and said straightforwardly, "Otherwise, let's look at the agreements our lawyers draft first. If there are problems, then let the lawyers talk." Lu Chang sneered, "Someone like you can even afford a lawyer?" But Shen Youchu nodded in agreement. I ignored Lu Chang, took out my phone and said, "Miss Shen, let's add each other on WeChat for easier contact later." Shen Youchu meaningfully opened the QR code. I scanned it, and the chat box popped up with a nickname, which was clearly Silly Granddaughter. Her face instantly darkened. I was also embarrassed, having forgotten that we had already added each other on WeChat. Facing her sour expression, I coughed. The nickname was just chosen randomly at the time. I casually changed the nickname to Silly Second Girl, left a message, "See you at zone 123, then hailed a car and left. In the car, I called Gu, "Find the best divorce lawyer. He absolutely cannot take a single cent from me." "Boss, what on earth happened with your marriage? It can't be that both of you have amnesia, right?" I sighed. "One person must know what's going on. Is it old Mrs. Shen?" I frowned. "The clinical drug for Alzheimer's needs to be accelerated. Otherwise it'll be too late." When I got home, the old lady was actually waiting at the door with a suitcase. "Grandson-in-law, you're back." I brought a lot of clothes. I paused slightly and burst into laughter. That day, the most famous law firm in Haicheng received 2 anonymous requests. Female party, sign. The requirements of both parties were surprisingly identical. Female party, sign. The other party cannot take a single cent. The other party cannot take a single cent. The assistant lawyer complained, "I've never seen such a heartless couple." But the lawyer just chuckled. "One contract, double the money. Send it to the employer." Then, Shen Youchu in the office received my divorce agreement. Just as she opened it, Lu Chang pushed the door open and entered. "Boss, the investigation results are in. Ling Yu only discovered you were married when registering a few days ago. For the years after she left the Ling family, much of the information is untraceable." "Very strange." Shen Youchu looked thoughtful. "So you think he's involved in this?" "The purpose is still unknown. Also, the researcher is elusive. Still haven't been able to contact them." Shen Youchu didn't speak. "She doesn't know that the clinical drug for Alzheimer's is exactly what I am developing." In the evening, Shen Youchu asked me downstairs and handed me the agreement. "I have no objections. Sign it." She thought I would refuse, but I signed it without hesitation. "Divorce tomorrow. So urgent?" "Extremely urgent," I complained inwardly. "The company is still waiting to go public. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow morning." Just then, old Mrs. Shen came downstairs. Her face was pale. Her voice trembled. "You're getting a divorce?" As soon as she spoke, she closed her eyes and collapsed to the ground. Outside the hospital ward, the doctor seriously warned, "The old lady must not be subjected to any more stress. Whatever you do, don't make her angry again." Shen Youchu sat on the bench, her hands trembling uncontrollably. After the old lady woke up, she looked at me, her voice hoarse. "Grandson-in-law, I dreamed that you and that brat were getting a divorce." "That's not true, is it?" I didn't speak. Beside me, Shen Youchu spoke. "It's not true. Then don't divorce. Give me the household register and marriage certificate." "Okay." Shen Youchu complied immediately. The little old lady looked at me again. "Grandson-in-law, that brat is telling the truth, right?" Remembering the doctor's warning, I remained silent for a moment. "It's true." At night, I sat on the sofa processing English research materials. A message from Silly Second Girl popped up on WeChat. "Wait until grandma's condition stabilizes, then go for the divorce." I replied okay. "Anyway, the agreement is signed. We are no longer involved." Shen Youchu sent another message. "Do you have any other requests? Once grandma is better, just divorce as soon as possible." The little old lady looked at me, then looked at her, and suddenly said, "Brat, I want to, in the Shen group, arrange a job for my grandson-in-law." Shen Youchu paused slightly and replied okay. The little old lady was excited. "Tomorrow you'll go to work with that brat." I agreed as well. The Shen group has an extensive database, which is convenient for me to find materials. Then Shen Youchu left with Lu Chang. In the hallway, Lu Chang complained, "Boss, he definitely wants to sneak into the company. Why did you agree? If we don't keep him close, how will he show his true colors?" Shen Youchu said coldly. In the ward, the old lady beckoned me. "Grandson-in-law, I'll tell you a secret. If that brat bullies you, just fight back. Don't let her arrogant and tough appearance fool you. Actually, she's afraid of cats." I was stunned. A girl I knew as a child in my memories also seemed to be afraid of cats. "Grandson-in-law, do you like cats or dogs?" I suddenly realized. I used to like cats too, but the girl didn't like them, so I stopped liking them. Soon I understood why the old lady asked this question. The next day, top floor of the Shin group, a cute little Shiba Inu wagged its tail, circling around me. Lu Chang was speechless. The job the old madam arranged for Mr. Ling. Why was it taking care of this little puppy? And Shen Youchu didn't quite understand either. That my job was actually petting a dog. This was simply too absurd. She commanded, "Take them to the new energy R&D department, Group 1, for onboarding." This was something she had arranged long ago. The new energy R&D department is crucial to the group's future. Putting me there was to see if I would slip up. I didn't mind. I picked up the puppy and followed Lu Chang. "Does it have a name?" The old madam asked you to come collect it. I glanced at the scowling Shen Youchu. "Then let's call it Kitten." The new energy R&D department is on the 38th floor, Lu Chang said in the elevator. "Young Master Ling, most of the employees in our Shin Group R&D department are PhD students, and at minimum, graduates from prestigious universities. You are the first undergraduate. Learn well from your seniors here. It will be very beneficial for your future. This was specially arranged for you by the boss. Of course, you don't need to be overly grateful. This is the boss's reward for pleasing the old madam." My mouth twitched. Actually, it's quite unnecessary. By the way, your relationship with the boss doesn't want to make public, to avoid any turmoil if you divorce in the future. I glanced at him. Coincidentally, I have the same concern. Lu Chang was stunned. This man actually dislikes the boss? The first day of office work was very easy. No one assigned me any work. I enjoyed the freedom, playing with the puppy in the office. Once it fell asleep, I got up and closed the door, heading straight for the archives on the 60th floor. Only by creating a special drug for Alzheimer's and having the old lady recover her memories can I understand how this baffling marriage came to be. The books here cover top knowledge from all walks of life. Some are even research materials inaccessible to the outside. I felt a hint of excitement. On the top floor, Shen Youchu received a text from old Madam Shen. Grandma's WeChat name had been changed to Grandma who must not be stressed. "I want to have lunch with my grandson-in-law. Remember to send me a photo of you two dining intimately." Shen Youchu sighed helplessly and pressed the call button. "Lu Chang, prepare 2 lunches and bring them up." She sent me a message, but I didn't reply for a long time. Arriving at the 60th floor, I searched behind rows of bookshelves, and soon saw Shen Xian staring at me. I was so absorbed in searching for books, that I accidentally bumped into her while stepping back. "Sorry." I turned my head to see Shen Xian staring at me with a complex expression. "Ling Yu, you went to such lengths to please great-grandmother. Surely it wasn't to get close to my aunt?" My expression instantly turned cold. "None of your business. Aunt has never been interested in men all these years. Don't think you can seduce her just by relying on your face. She isn't that shallow. Isn't it the case now that she just gave you a trivial job, just to get rid of you?" I sneered. "You mean when you chased me for so long back then, it was because you were the shallow one?" Shen Xian's eyes turned red. "I know you hate that I proposed to Ling Fan, but I had no choice. Noble marriages have many considerations. Even my mother agreed for me to be with an ordinary person. But your status, no matter what, I could never marry an illegitimate child. Otherwise, how could I face the Shin family? I would become the laughingstock of Haicheng." I looked away. "Thank you for the kindness of not marrying me." I was about to leave, but Shen Xian blocked the way. "I can arrange for you to work in our group. I'll find someone capable to mentor you. I know you are ambitious. You are so smart. You'll definitely learn very quickly." Hearing this, I interrupted her rambling. "What's the condition?" "Divorce her and follow me." Shen Xian wouldn't allow another woman to share him. Just thinking about it makes me feel like going crazy. I responded coldly. "You're not worthy. Why do you love that hooligan wife of yours so much? Do you believe me? I'll give her a sum of money, or find someone to intimidate her. Everything can make her abandon you. How could she possibly compare to me?" Hearing this, I looked at Shen Xian coldly. "I didn't want to hurt your self-esteem. Since you insist on digging deeper, Then I'll tell you, my wife is more beautiful than you, and her figure is better than yours. Leaving these words behind, I turned around to leave, only to see Shen Youchu at the corner. I fell silent. She fell silent too. At this moment, Shen Xian's gaze behind me turned gloomy. She picked up her phone and called Ling Fan. Aren't you having dinner with Dr. Yu tomorrow afternoon? Bring me along. Meanwhile, Shen Youchu used having dinner with me as an excuse, and took me to the top floor. Entering Shen Youchu's office, she pointed to the dining table nearby. You eat first. I'm feeling a bit guilty. Looking at her, she probably didn't hear what I said. Just as I was thinking, I heard the sound of a phone camera. Shen Youchu calmly took a photo and sent it to Grandma. Then she walked over. I knew why she took the photo, so I didn't ask. I just looked at the table and made small talk. Miss Shen's lunch is very sumptuous. The woman sat down opposite me, gracefully picking up her chopsticks. After all, only with proper nutrition can one maintain a better figure. I was stunned. My face flushed. My gaze swept over her snowy white skin, awkwardly packing up a portion of the food. Miss Shen, I suddenly remembered. The kitten hasn't been fed yet. I'll head out first. Thank you for the lunch. I was in high spirits, carrying the food box away. After work, Shen Youchu called Grandma. Where are you? At the hospital. My chest suddenly started hurting again this afternoon. I want to stay for a few more days. Are you coming to keep me company tonight? It's okay if you don't. Just let me stay in the hospital all alone and pitiful. I'm coming right now. That's more like it. By the way, I've already arranged it with my grandson-in-law. He's coming to accompany me too. You and the grandson-in-law come together. Shen Youchu pressed her temples. She understood Grandma's little scheme. She sent me a message. I'll pick you up after work and take you to the hospital. I replied quickly, no need. I've already taken a taxi and am on my way. Although she wanted to keep her distance, but seeing me avoid her so much, Shen Youchu's inner displeasure inexplicably increased. Holding the puppy, I entered the inpatient department. Not far away, Mrs. Ling had just finished her re-examination. Ling Fan was supporting her arm. Is that Ling Yu? Why is he at the hospital? Is he sick? Mrs. Ling asked hesitantly. Ling Fan was annoyed inside. Old Mrs. Shen doesn't let anyone visit, yet she lets Ling Yu accompany her. His eyes flickered. He must be visiting old Mrs. Shen. Ling Yu is truly filial. Nanny Nan frowned. Filial for what? I've never seen him come to visit you, madam. Madam, you're still speaking up for him. Young Master Ling Yu is just an ingrate. He's probably forgotten you long ago. Ling Fan chimed in. I heard Miss Shen found him a job at the Shen Group. That's probably why he's repaying old Mrs. Shen. Nanny Nan sneered. Madam even raised him. The grace of upbringing is greater than the heavens. Yet I don't see him repaying you, madam. Enough. Stop talking. Mrs. Ling stopped them. Ling Fan feigned a sigh. Mom has a good heart, but some people repay a drop of water with a spring. Like Dr. Yu. Mom only sponsored him with a bit of money, but how much has he helped our family over the years? 3 years ago, the company almost went bankrupt. Dr. Yu directly provided a technical patent, which saved us from the crisis. Nanny Nan nodded. Compared like this, Dr. Yu is far better than Ling Yu. I also want to know what kind of person Dr. Yu actually is. Mom, take me with you tomorrow. Mrs. Ling smiled and patted his head. I'll take you. I happened to see it while sitting on the sofa in the VIP ward. My gaze followed Mrs. Ling. Her face had an unhealthy paleness. Ling Fan was whispering something beside her. Mrs. Ling nodded helplessly. The mother and son were acting close. Until the car left, I reluctantly looked away. Turning around, the old lady was standing behind me. Grandson-in-law. Who was that person? She looks so familiar. My expression softened, and as I was about to speak, her eyes suddenly lit up. I remember now. She is your mother. You two look so much alike. I paused slightly. Actually, aside from the face shape, our features aren't similar. Only that cold aura is identical. After all, after leaving the Ling family, I would subconsciously mimic her way of doing things, picking up some of her demeanor. I looked at the old lady. Grandma, she is not my mother. But the old lady was certain. She is. Grandson-in-law, how can you not acknowledge your mother? I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Fortunately, Shen Youchu appeared at the door with dinner. The dinner Shen Youchu prepared was lavish, and she brought fruit for 3 people. She immediately frowned. Grandson-in-law can't eat mangoes. He is allergic to mangoes. My heart skipped a beat, and I looked at her in shock. Grandma, how do you know? I used to be allergic, but I outgrew it 2 years ago. I had never mentioned this to her. The old lady smiled. You told me before. You said whenever you eat mangoes, your face breaks out in little red bumps. My expression became serious. When was before? before? The old lady became confused again. I think you told me before the marriage. My mind was in turmoil. I was sure I didn't know her at all before the marriage, nor had I lost my memory. I hurriedly pressed her. What else do you remember? For example, how Miss Shen and I got our marriage certificate. The old lady shook her head, saying she couldn't remember. I noticed Shen Youchu's scrutinizing gaze. Her face was cold. I knew she must think I have ulterior motives again. I really can't clear my name no matter what. I picked up the Shiba Inu. Grandma, you guys eat first. I'm going to walk the dog. I hid at the end of the corridor, quietly looking back at the ward. Not long after, Shen Youchu followed me out. Does young Master Ling have something to say? I thought you'd want me to explain something. Then is there anything young Master Ling wants to explain? I answered seriously. About what Grandma said before the marriage. I really don't know what's going on. Something involving such privacy. The old lady couldn't have made it up. I thought she would question it, but she responded calmly. I believe it. Miss Shen, believe me. Shen Youchu took a step closer, her tone cold. Young Master Ling, I don't care if you have some motive. If you can keep Grandma happy, then I guarantee I can keep you safe. I understand. She doesn't care about the truth. As long as Grandma is happy, she can even turn a blind eye to everything she plotted against me. She added overbearingly, if you hurt Grandma, I will make it impossible for you to stay in Haicheng. I sneered. Haven't you already done that, Miss Shen? Shen Youchu frowned and was about to speak, when Professor Wen's voice suddenly came. Ling Yu. Professor Wen walked over, his voice hoarse. I was just about to call you, to ask if you found a job. Have you and Miss Shen resolved your misunderstanding? Miss Shen is really too heartless. Why be so relentlessly petty? Canceling your postgraduate recommendation is one thing, but to declare that you should disappear from Haicheng. Beside them, Shen Youchu looked confused. I glanced at her with a half smile. Don't worry, Professor. It's already resolved. It was a misunderstanding. Miss Shen is actually quite kind. Not only did she arrange a job for me, she even wants to keep me safe. Shen Youchu's face darkened. Professor Wen breathed a sigh of relief. Then he looked at Shen Youchu and asked instinctively, is this that hooligan wife of yours? Shen Youchu's face went completely black, but my smile grew even wider. Something like that. Professor Wen said earnestly to Shen Youchu, young lady, you are so beautiful. You should work hard to find a proper job. At the Ling family restaurant right now. Ling Jinan was worriedly asking the appetiteless Mrs. Ling. Xia, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Ling Fan interrupted. Dad, it's because we ran into Ling Yu at the hospital today. Mom is probably a bit worried about him. Why worry about him? Ling Fan sighed. He must hate me now. I'm worried about what he might say in front of old Mrs. Shen, and that Miss Shen might take it out on me. Ling Jinan sneered. That's because he offended Miss Shen. What does that have to do with you? Just then, Ling Jinan's phone rang. It was Lu Chang, Shen Youchu's special assistant. Assistant Lu, how do you have time to call me? Does Miss Shen have any instructions? The voice on the other end was exceptionally cold. The boss asked me to ask young Master Ling Fan. When did he say that he wanted young Master Ling Yu to disappear from Haicheng? How could the boss not know this herself? Ling Jinnan's face froze. He looked at Ling Fan in disbelief. Lu Chang left one final sentence. The Ling family really should teach their juniors a lesson. Then he hung up the phone. Beside him, Ling Fan lowered his head in silence. I saw Ling Yu pestering Miss Shen at the time. I was afraid it would affect my marriage to Sister Shen Xin. Dad, I didn't do it on purpose. Ling Fan explained, his face pale. After all, Ling Yu is also your son. I was afraid you wouldn't have the heart to reprimand him. Foolish. Ling Jinnan changed the subject. How many times have I told you? In my heart, I only have one son, and that is you. What is Ling Yu anyway? Can he even compare to you? Mrs. Ling disagreed. Jinnan, Ling Yu is your son after all. Ling Jinnan immediately turned around. Xia, back then, you were schemed against by Luli. I failed you. I will not acknowledge her son. In my heart, there is only you and our son. Luli, standing aside as a nanny, hearing this, immediately clenched her fists in resentment. She looked at Ling Jinan with bitterness in her eyes. This was the man she deeply loved, her childhood friend and the boy next door. But in this man's eyes and heart, there was only Li Xia. After she became pregnant back then, she went to him with the pregnancy test result, saying she could be his mistress. But he drove her away ruthlessly, saying he would not betray his wife. Luli really had no other choice. She could only only find Li Xia, and only stayed in the Ling house after acting desperate. All these years, Ling Jinan never said much to her, and treated Ling Yu as if he were invisible. Fortunately, she swapped the two children. Lu Li lowered her head, suppressing the smile in her eyes. Ling Jinan will never know that the one he claimed was Li Xia's son and cherished, Ling Fan, whom he had doted on for so many years, is actually her son. As for Ling Yu, he deserves to be ignored and suppressed. Mrs. Ling shook her head stubbornly. Jinan, if Ling Fan was wrong, he was wrong. The family should apologize to Ling Yu. Ling Jinan frowned. Apologize? My son apologizes to Lu Li's son? Lu Li also hurriedly said, no need. No need. It's such a great kindness that the Ling family raised him. It's only right to discipline him. Mrs. Ling looked at them and sighed softly, but didn't argue further. When Ling Fan escorted her back to her room, Mrs. Ling spoke again. If you have time tomorrow, I'll take you to apologize to Ling Yu in person. Ling Fan's face changed. Don't you want to take Shen Xin to see Dr. Yu? Let's do it together tomorrow. Ling Fan's eyes immediately lit up. He took her arm. Okay, Mom, you're still the only one who's good to me. After he left, Mrs. Ling looked at the old servant, Nanny Nan. Sister Nan, my health hasn't been good these years. Failed to discipline Ling Fan properly. It's truly a dereliction of duty. Madam, you're overthinking it. Young Master Ling Fan is filial and considerate. Small flaws can be corrected later. Mrs. Ling smiled bitterly. Ling Yu never lies. He began to cough violently, walking to the bedside with Nanny Nan's help. That secret still weighed her down, making it hard to breathe. The next day, I'd been somewhat nervous since I woke up this morning. It's been 10 years since I last saw Mrs. Ling. I don't know if she'll be happy or angry to see me. At noon, I went home to change my clothes. The old lady asked Shen Youchu to take her home. The two left the ward. As soon as they went downstairs, they saw Lu Chang approaching. Shen Youchu nodded to him. Lu Chang handed a piece of paper to me. Young Master Ling, please take a look. There was a list on it. Professor Zhang and a well-known domestic new energy professor. I looked at Lu Chang in confusion. These are all professors more famous than Professor One. You can choose one to continue your graduate studies. It's compensation from the boss for canceling your recommended admission. Young Master Ling, meeting our boss. This could be considered a blessing in disguise. My mouth twitched. No need. Then do you want to be Dr. Yu's graduate student? Lu Chang frowned. This is a bit difficult. Dr. Yu is very sought after right now. A genius professor like that only recruits genius students. I'm afraid you won't meet his standards, or perhaps don't be so overly ambitious. At worst, after you graduate with a master's degree, then go find Dr. Yu for your PhD. I looked at him as if he were an idiot. I spoke directly to Shen Youchu. Miss Shen, no need to see me off. I'll take a taxi back myself. Shen Youchu stared in the direction I left. Suddenly she said to Lu Chang, then help him contact Dr. Yu. What? Lu Chang was stunned. At the entrance of the private restaurant, Mrs. Ling arrived early with Ling Fan and Shen Xin. Shen Xin pushed open the private room door. What came into view was the tall back of a man who was pouring tea. Hello, Dr. Yu. I am Shen Xin from the Shen Group. Nice to meet you. I turned around, with a hint of amusement on my face. Ling Yu, why are you here? I should be the one asking you that. My tone was lazy. Shen Xin's face turned cold. Don't worry, I didn't come here for you this time. Where is Dr. Yu? Where is he? I didn't say anything. Mrs. Ling walked in with Ling Fan. Seeing me, Mrs. Ling's eyes welled up. You are Ling Yu. I felt something in my heart. Madam, have you been well lately? I am fine. Ling Yu, and you? I heard from your father that you got married. Mrs. Ling held my hand and wouldn't let go, sighing with emotion. A dark glint flashed in Ling Fan's eyes. Ling Yu, we should have invited you to dine with us, but you're working a part-time job. It probably wouldn't be convenient, right? We'll give you a bit more tip later. Consider it a subsidy for your living expenses. Say a few words less. Mrs. Ling scolded him, hurriedly looking at me. Ling Yu, we have an appointment with Dr. Yu today. You are also in the field of new energy, right? Get to know him. It will be beneficial for your future. Ling Fan, fearing I would steal the resources, picked up a scalding cup of tea and walked to my side. Ling Yu, my mom told me to apologize to you yesterday. I'll use tea instead of wine, to toast you. After saying that, he loosened his grip. The tea was about to spill on me. I stepped aside and bumped him. The teacup bounced back onto Ling Fan, scalding him, making him cry out loudly. Ling Yu, I know you hate me, but how could you do this? He cried out aggrievedly. I lowered my eyes, pretending to be innocent. Sorry, I didn't see, Shen Xin said angrily. Ling Yu, is this how you act as a waiter? You hurt the guest. Call your manager right now. I'm going to complain about you. Mrs. Ling protected me. That's enough. We are all family. Mom, Sister Shen Xin is angry. Let Ling Yu leave first, to avoid further conflict. Mrs. Ling looked at me apologetically. Ling Yu, come home more often when you're free. Next time there's a chance, I'll take you to visit Dr. Yu. Ling Fan hurriedly changed the subject. Mom, why hasn't Dr. Yu arrived yet? I said with a half smile. He's already here. The three people in the room looked at me simultaneously. Just as Mrs. Ling was about to ask more, she suddenly coughed violently and fainted right at the dining table. Madam, I instinctively went to support her, but was pushed away forcefully by Ling Fan. Get lost. What did you do to my mother? Wake up. The ambulance arrived quickly. I wanted to get in the car, but was grabbed by Shen Xin. Illegitimate child, stay away from Mrs. Ling. If you make her sick from anger, I won't let you off. I took a taxi and followed them to the hospital. The hallway was crowded. There were no empty beds. Shen Youchu saw the scene from upstairs and instructed Lu Chang, arrange a ward for young Master Ling. The receptionist received the call and immediately shouted, a VIP ward has just become available. Ling Fan was overjoyed. Sister Shen Xin, you really have a way. Shen Xin accepted the credit. The group entered the ward. I followed closely behind, but was stopped at the door by Ling Fan. Ling Yu, my mother needs quiet rest. Don't disturb her. With a bang, the door closed. I stood there stunned. My heart was burning with anxiety, but I had no right to enter. I could only sit on the bench. Not long after, the sound of hurried footsteps approached. Ling Jinan rushed into the ward with a worried face. After confirming Mrs. Ling was okay, he pulled Ling Fan out of the room. Ling Jinan frowned and asked, what happened? How could she just faint? Ling Fan looked at me sitting nearby. It was Ling Yu. He insisted on meeting Dr. Yu, had a few arguments with Sister Shen Xin, and upset Mom. Ling Jinan immediately glared at me. You brat! Without a word, he swung his arm and started hitting me. I didn't dodge. My mind was filled with Mrs. Ling's pale face. Perhaps as Ling Fan said, my presence itself is her misfortune. The expected pain never came. I opened my eyes and saw a cold, elegant figure blocking the way. Shen Youchu stood there, as if shielding me from the world. Ling Jinan said flusteredly, Miss Shen, what are you doing? Mr. Ling is disciplining his son. I shouldn't interfere, but Grandma likes him now. She'll be sad if she sees injuries on young Master Ling's face. Shen Youchu's voice was low and pleasant. Ling Jinan immediately said, it was my lack of consideration. The sound of Mrs. Ling coughing came from the ward. Ling Jinan and Ling Fan went inside immediately. I stood at the door hesitating for a long time, listening to her weak voice from inside. I'm fine. Don't worry, I haven't slept well in a long time. Fainting just now. Felt like a comfortable sleep. Only then did my heart relax. Shen Youchu asked, not going in? Not for now, otherwise it'll be another verbal war. Disturbing Mrs. Ling's rest, I spoke softly. Just as I turned around, the old lady walked over supported by the butler. I heard my granddaughter's husband's mother is hospitalized. I've come to see her. I supported her arm. Grandma, Mrs. Ling is not my mother. Could I be mistaken? The old lady took out her phone, found a photo and handed it to me. Grandson-in-law, you sent this to me before, saying it was you and your mother. Is the person in the ward not the one in the photo? I was instantly stunned. In the photo, Mrs. Ling and I are sitting by the seaside, smiling brightly, looking exactly like a mother and son. But I haven't seen her since I left the Ling family. How could there be a photo together? I zoomed in on the photo and found a clue. This is a clumsy composite photo. When did I send this to you? The old lady shook her head. She didn't remember. Then how did I send it to you? Email or text message? She continued to shake her head. She couldn't recall. I felt a bit helpless, but the old lady was adamant. Grandson-in-law, she is your mother. You cannot ignore your mother. After seeing the old lady off, Shen Youchu stood in the hallway. Lu Chang quickly walked over to report. Boss, we've found out. Young Master Ling went to work at that private restaurant, and then encountered the Ling family. Shen Youchu's voice was cold. Is the salary the Shen Group pays him too low? Otherwise, why would he go work outside? It's not low. It was arranged by the old madam. Perhaps the tasks assigned by the supervisor were too difficult, and he was worried about being fired. But Shen Youchu felt it wasn't that simple. What was the Ling family doing at the private restaurant? They had an appointment with Dr. Yu. Miss Shen Xin went there for this reason as well. And Dr. Yu? He never showed up in the end. A glimmer appeared in the depths of Shen Youchu's eyes. A wild idea began to form. Inside the ward, Mrs. Ling felt much better after after resting. Ling Fan suggested that Shen Xin go back first. Ling Fan looked embarrassed. Shen Xin stayed here purely to wait for Dr. Yu. Mrs. Ling realized this and handed the phone to me. Since the appointment was missed today, she should clarify it with Dr. Yu. After Mrs. Ling rescheduled, Ling Fan escorted Shen Xin out. In the hallway, Ling Fan said, "Sister Shen Xin, don't worry, there definitely won't be any problem with Dr. Yu. There are a few stubborn people in the R&D department of Shin Group who aren't convinced. As long as we can invite Dr. Yu to join, I will have made a contribution and secured my position. So Dr. Yu is very important to me. You must persuade him." The two entered the elevator. I stepped out from the corner and pushed the door open to enter the ward. Ling Jinnan's face immediately darkened. "What are you doing here again? Is that Ling Yu? Quick, let him in." Mrs. Ling's gentle voice sounded. "Ling Jinnan warned me not to make Mrs. Ling angry again. I already told you. It wasn't because of Ling Yu today. I just haven't slept well for several days." Mrs. Ling scolded him lightly and took my hand. "Child, you must have been frightened today." Her palm was very warm. I smiled and said, "No, you should come home and visit more often. And that wife of yours, your mother said she's a little hoodlum, but I don't believe that. Ling Yu has had good taste since he was a child and is very principled. The person you've chosen must have some strengths. Bring her to see me some other day." My nose tingled. "Okay." She began to cough violently again. I took out a plastic bottle. "This is cough medicine I asked someone to buy. Take one pill when you can't sleep at night." Mrs. Ling nodded in agreement. I stepped out of the ward. I heard Ling Jinnan say disdainfully inside, "How could she be won over by a single bottle of medicine from some unknown small clinic?" He casually threw the medicine bottle into the trash can. Late at night, Mrs. Ling woke up coughing again. She was so anxious that she had thoughts of ending her life. In a daze, she picked up the bottle from the trash can and took a pill. A cooling sensation instantly enveloped her itchy throat. She fell asleep in a haze. The next morning at 10 o'clock, Mrs. Ling was woken up by Ling Jinnan. She had actually slept until broad daylight. "Madam, the sleeping pills the doctor gave yesterday really worked. You actually slept for a full 10 hours. Nan Ma's eyes turned red with excitement. "What sleeping pills?" Mrs. Ling was confused. Nan Ma looked at Ling Fan. "Miss Shen Xin found them for you. She specifically found strong sleeping pills and added them to your medication. I didn't expect it to actually work." Mrs. Ling paused. She felt her throat was much clearer. Her gaze fell on the unlabeled plastic bottle by the pillow. Ling Jinnan praised his daughter-in-law greatly. "This daughter-in-law is really good. I heard the inpatient department is full lately." It was Shen Xin who used many connections to arrange this ward. Thanks to her this time, Ling Fan took advantage of the situation. "Sister Shen Xin is so filial to you. Please help her too. The family wants Sister Shen Xin to manage the R&D department, but those researchers aren't convinced. If Dr. Yu could be invited as external technical support, Sister Shen Xin would be able to establish her position." Mrs. Ling hesitated for a moment before saying, "Then I'll ask Dr. Yu, but if he doesn't agree, then forget it." Ling Fan was full of smiles. In his view, as long as Mrs. Ling asks, Dr. Yu has never refused. Mrs. Ling took out her phone, found Dr. Yu's profile picture, carefully chose her words and sent a message. "Xiao Yu, are you free? I want to ask you for a favor." When I received the message, I had just returned from taking the old lady for a walk. I frowned. Why would Mrs. Ling be looking for me? Could there be a problem with yesterday's medicine? That medicine is still in the clinical trial stage. Seeing that she was seriously ill, I brought it out ahead of time. I was a bit anxious, told the caregiver to take the old lady back to her room, and rushed over to Mrs. Ling. Soon I arrived at the ward, and found that both Shen Xin and Luli were there. Laughter and chatting stopped abruptly the moment I entered. I felt out of place. Seeing that Mrs. Ling was fine, I lowered my eyes and planned to leave. But Luli spoke up. "Isn't this young Master Ling? How did you climb up to old Mrs. Shen's high branch? People like us are no longer good enough for you." I turned to leave, but she grabbed me. "I heard you're now fully focused on pleasing old Mrs. Shen, serving her needs all night. Do you think she'll treat you like her own grandson? What kind of daydream are you having? You're nothing more than a toy to her." Ling Fan hurriedly said, "Don't say that. Old Mrs. Shen values Ling Yu very much." Luli raised her voice. "What kind of valuing is that? Miss Shen Xin's attitude toward you is true valuing." She looked at Shen Xin flatteringly. "I heard there were no rooms available yesterday. Even families with good backgrounds had to queue. It was all thanks to Miss Shen Xian's help that the madam could be admitted to the VIP ward. Shen Xian looked at me with a humble smile. Auntie probably didn't know about this. Otherwise, she would have helped too. It was just a small effort. Even if Miss Shen knew, she wouldn't care about you. Luli mocked me again. No matter how much you flatter, they're just playing with you like a cat or a dog. I clenched my fists, not wanting to argue in the ward. Shen Youchu, arriving outside, heard everything. Her expression was cold and grim. Lu Chang immediately understood the boss's meaning. He coughed and walked into the room. Mrs. Ling, I'm here on behalf of President Shen to pay my respects. Are you comfortable in this ward? The room fell silent. Everyone looked at Shen Xian. She looked bewildered. Luli was stunned. Then she smiled. Miss Shen Xian, so this ward was arranged by you asking Miss Shen. Shen Xian's expression froze, but Lu Chang smiled. This was arranged by Mr. Ling through the boss. Miss Shen Xian, did you also ask the boss? Shen Xian was so embarrassed she wanted to disappear. I made many phone calls at the time, contacted several people. It was my misunderstanding. Ling Fan clenched his fists, feeling only embarrassment. Mrs. Ling broke the awkward atmosphere. Thank you, Miss Shen. The stay here is very good. Once I'm feeling better, I will visit the old madam. Lu Chang said as long as you are comfortable, and Mr. Ling is not worried, our old madam will be happy. These words were clearly elevating me. The hearts of the people in the room sank. Mrs. Ling, however, was genuinely happy. I looked toward Luli, with a clear look of mockery. Luli, exasperated, shouted, you brat. What are you so smug about? Shut up. Ling Jinan shouted angrily. The madam is ill and needs quiet rest. What are you barking about here? Get the hell home. Luli glared at me resentfully and ran away, covering her face. I looked toward the hospital bed. Madam, how did you sleep last night? Mrs. Ling subconsciously gripped the small medicine bottle under the blanket. I slept very well. I haven't slept this well in a long time. That's good. I'll be going now. Lu Chang and I walked out the door. Shen Youchu was leaning against the corridor wall, looking at her phone. The light and shadow reflected her cold profile. Seeing me come out, she spoke. Grandmother was worried, and insisted that I come and see for myself. Although her voice was distant, my heart was filled with warmth. The ward door opened, and Shen Xian and Ling Fan walked out. Seeing me and Shen Youchu standing together, Ling Fan looked as if he were facing a great enemy. Shen Xian instinctively questioned, Aunt, why are you here? Shen Youchu's eyes showed relief. It seems I don't need to report my whereabouts to you. The strong pressure made Shen Xian's palms sweat. She looked at me with jealousy. Young Master Ling, you've been taking care of great-grandmother in the hospital. Doesn't your wife mind? I glanced at Shen Youchu with some confusion, and said with a half-smile, she probably doesn't mind. Shen Xian's expression changed drastically. Shen Youchu suddenly spoke. Going back to the ward? Grandmother is waiting for you. I smiled faintly and said, let's go. We turned and left, leaving behind a sinister-looking Shen Xian. She returned to Mrs. Ling's ward. While tidying the bedding, she exclaimed, why is there a bottle of medicine on the bed? Ling Jinan frowned. Isn't this the unbranded medicine Ling Yu gave? Shia, why did you pick it back up? I took one last night, and it seemed to work. Mrs. Ling explained. How is that possible? Clearly, it was the sleeping pills that worked. Ling Jinan snatched the medicine. Who knows where he bought the medicine he gave? What if it harms your health? Don't throw it away. I'll try not taking that tonight, to see which medicine actually works. Late at night, Mrs. Ling began coughing violently again. Nanny Nan held the sleeping pills that were praised as a miracle drug, but found they were completely useless. Mrs. Ling's face turned red from coughing. Then Nanny Nan rushed out to retrieve my medicine. Just as she was about to administer it, Ling Fan grabbed her hand. Mom, could the worsening cough be caused by this medicine? This medicine of unknown origin is better left untaken. Ling Jinan also said angrily, this Ling Yu, Shia, you are so good to him, yet he uses medicine to harm you. Mrs. Ling was coughing so hard she couldn't speak, staring intently at Nanny Nan. Nanny Nan was the most loyal, and under pressure, she put the medicine into the madam's mouth. The coughing stopped instantly. Mrs. Ling breathed a long sigh of relief, confirming that Ling Yu's medicine had worked. The group went to the outer room. Ling Fan's face was pale. Dad, Ling Yu actually managed to buy a special drug. What capability could he possibly have? He must have asked Miss Shen to help buy it. Ling Jinan frowned deeply. It seems old Madam Shen really values him. In the VIP ward, Shen Youchu was chatting with grandmother. What did you eat for lunch today? The old lady thought for a long while. White porridge. No, maybe not. It was noodles. Silly girl, right? Shen Youchu nodded with a smile, but her heart sank. They had rice for lunch. Grandmother forgot again. Her memory loss seemed to be getting worse worse and worse. I suddenly spoke up lazily. "Grandmother, what color were Miss Shen's earrings yesterday?" The old lady immediately said, "Purple. That silly girl is very particular about purple, and she even wore diamond cufflinks." "And the day before yesterday?" "The day before yesterday was blue. I was the one who bought her those blue earrings." I looked at Shen Youchu with a faint smile. Meaningfully, grandmother remembers things she cares about very clearly. Shen Youchu looked at me. I was curled up in a beanbag chair fiddling with my phone. My posture relaxed. Those words just now were to comfort her. Her anxious heart seemed to be slowly calmed. The old lady suddenly smiled. "Grandson-in-law, everything I just said was right, wasn't it?" I nodded and said yes. "You brat, see that? Grandson-in-law. He even remembers exactly what you wear every day. He has you in his heart." I was completely stunned. "I just have a photographic memory. I didn't intentionally memorize it." Just as I was about to explain, I saw Shen Youchu just staring at the computer, ignoring us. What I didn't notice was that her ears were turning red. I continued studying the data on my phone. I still had no clue how to wrap up the Alzheimer's case. I stood up to take a walk. Just as I went downstairs to walk the dog, someone patted me on the shoulder. I looked back, and it was Lu Li's gambling-addicted brother, my uncle, Lu Yaoguang. "Long time no see, my dear nephew." I took a step back. "What are you doing here? Didn't I hear that you've curried favor with the Shen family? Your uncle is a bit short on cash lately. Could you lend some money to your uncle?" I sneered and said I had no money. "You take such good care of that old woman. She hasn't given you any money?" I narrowed my eyes. "Not yet, maybe she will in the future." He just kept smiling sleazily. "Then you must lend it to your uncle when the time comes. If you give me enough, your uncle can tell you a secret." He left with a chuckle. I scoffed. Just then, my phone rang. I picked it up and saw that it was actually Mrs. Ling calling. Meanwhile, in another ward, Ling Fan saw that Dr. Yu hadn't responded for a long time. Shen Xian was also pressing him. So, while Mrs. Ling was fast asleep, he stole her phone. He found Xiao Yu in the contacts and dialed the number. The call connected. My voice was soft. "Is something the matter, Mrs. Ling?" Ling Fan was suddenly stunned. "Ling Yu?" He widened his eyes in disbelief. He could never mistake this voice. My heart sank, and my voice grew colder. "Ling Fan, what are you doing with Mrs. Ling's phone? Is this your phone number?" I was a bit incoherent. "What nonsense are you talking?" Only then did Ling Fan realize. Ling Yu also has the character Yu in his name. Mrs. Ling occasionally calls him Xiao Yu. He breathed a huge sigh of relief. Ling Fan dropped his act and said viciously, "I just want to tell you, even if you've tied yourself to Miss Shen through the old lady, at most, you're just a toy. Miss Shen has a husband, but I'm different. I will marry sister Shen Xian in the future, and become a legitimate son-in-law of the Shen family." Well, congratulations. In wealthy families, love isn't the only thing that matters. As long as I have a general like Dr. Yu on my side, I will always be invincible. After hanging up, my lip twitched. When did I become Ling Fan's general? Immediately after. The WeChat of Dr. Yu under Mrs. Ling's name rang. It was Ling Fan again. I turned on the voice changer to answer. Ling Fan's tone was extremely respectful. "Hello, Dr. Yu, sorry to disturb you. I am Ling Fan, Li Shi's son. The Shen Group would like to invite you to their R&D team. My mother feels the same way. May I ask if you are interested?" I coldly interrupted. "I am only responsible for companies under Mrs. Ling's name." After saying that, I hung up. The following week, I went back to work at the Shen Group. Just as I left the hospital, intending to take a taxi, a Bentley with plate S6581 pulled up beside me. Shen Youchu looked straight ahead and said, "Get in. Grandma asked me to drive you to work." Shen Youchu glanced at me. "I want to take a photo." I got into the back seat. She held up her phone and took a photo of the two of us. I made a peace sign, smiling brightly. Shen Youchu was actually a bit dazed. Arriving at the company, I headed straight for the 60th floor archive. At that moment, the R&D department was announcing Shen Xian's promotion to vice president because she had recruited Dr. Yu. Inside the top floor office, Lu Chang was reporting my whereabouts. His purpose for entering the Shen Corporation was to research data. He spent the whole morning in the library and hadn't eaten lunch yet. Shen Youchu's eyes flickered. She went downstairs alone to look for me. In front of the neurology bookshelf, I was on a ladder reaching for materials on the top shelf. After I got the book, I was overjoyed. I missed my footing and fell, landing right on top of Shen Youchu. Realizing it was her, I quickly stood up. "I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose." Shen Youchu took a moment before standing up. Her ears were red, but she pretended not to care. The atmosphere was a bit awkward. I made up an excuse and slipped away. Before leaving, I hid that important book in an inconspicuous corner. I returned to the library in the afternoon, only to find the book was gone. I was completely confused. Then I realized, only one person in the whole company could take the book at will. Top floor. Shen Youchu was flipping through that profound neurology text, her brows furrowed. Lu Chang was muttering beside her. Boss, Ling Yu is simply ungrateful. He's not here to work at all. Right, he wasn't here to work in the first place. Shen Youchu replied indifferently. Lu Chang asked if the book should be returned. Shen Youchu tapped the book with her fingertip. Thinking of my expectant peach blossom eyes today, her heart felt inexplicably warm. Not for now. Quitting time. The Bentley was parked in the underground garage. Lu Chang asked, Boss, no rush. Shen Youchu held that thick reference book in her hand, until I got into the car. She looked up and said, Let's go. Lu Chang was slightly stunned. The boss didn't seem to have invited young Master Ling alone. From the exit to the hospital, just arriving at the VIP ward area, I heard Lu Li's flattering voice. Old madam, I came specifically to see you. Speaking of which, we are truly destined. Old Madam Shen stood at the door, looking at her. Get out. If you don't leave, I'll have someone beat you up. Lu Li smiled apologetically. I am Ling Yu's mother. Old madam, don't you like him the most? For his sake, you shouldn't treat me this way. You are not his mother. Old Madam Shen said firmly. Mrs. Ling is his mother. Lu Li instantly broke into a cold sweat, subconsciously asking back, how do you know? She was terrified. The matter of switching the children. Only she and her brother Lu Yaoguang knew. Why was old Madam Shen so certain? Seeing me and Shen Youchu approach, Lu Li guiltily restrained herself. She walked up to me and handed over a thermos. Ling Yu, Mom brought you some chicken soup. You've worked hard taking care of the old madam. Eat more to nourish yourself. I felt it was ironic, indifferently asking, what do you want? Or is it the remaining 2% of the shares? Old Madam Shen values you so much. If you ask, she will definitely agree. Help your brother. Otherwise, in front of Shen Xin, he won't be able to hold his head up at all. My eyes turned cold as I said, I won't help. Lu Li's face froze. She simply sat on the ground and wailed. Fine. I suffered so much to give birth to you. And now that you've climbed the social ladder, you've become heartless. Everyone, come and see. My son is an ungrateful wolf. He despises me for my humble origins. He wants to be someone's lapdog. The surrounding medical staff pointed and whispered. I watched her calmly. The feeling of helplessness in my heart grew stronger. Keep making a scene. And when you disturb others' rest, security will escort you out. After saying that, I walked straight past her. Lu Li was furious. Ungrateful wolf. She suddenly jumped up and splashed the chicken soup violently at me. Watch out. A pair of cold hands pulled me into an embrace. Shen Youchu blocked me from behind, taking the full heat of the soup for me. My pupils contracted, hurriedly asking, Are you okay? I'm fine. She frowned slightly and looked at Lu Li, who had been scared away. Entering the ward, the old lady anxiously pulled at her clothes. Take it off quickly. Let me see how bad the burn is. Are there any blisters? Does it hurt? Grandson-in-law, come and apply the medicine to her. The old lady shoved the medicine into my hand. Everyone else was kicked out. Grandson-in-law, I'm leaving it to you. Only 2 people remained in the ward. Shen Youchu whispered. It's grandma being impulsive. I'll have the nurse come in. I'll do it. I walked behind her. The twilight light fell on her back. My fingertips touched the ointment, gently applying it. She remained silent the whole time, until the medicine was finished. She tidied her hair. Thank you, young Master Ling. You're welcome. Actually, you didn't have to block it for me. You're injured. Grandma would be very sad. Shen Youchu looked at me steadily. Did you forget that you are now my husband? My heart skipped a beat. I always feel that the current Shen Youchu seems a bit different. I'm going out for a moment. What for? Revenge. I intended to find Lu Li, but I spotted Ling Fan and Uncle Lu Yaoguang in the hallway. Lu Yaoguang rubbed his hands. Good nephew. Uncle is a bit short on cash. Ling Fan suppressed his anger. I already gave you my allowance for this month. Anyway, I can't survive like this. If you don't give it to me, I'll tell the truth. He will definitely give a large sum of money. I pushed the door open and entered. My voice was cold. What truth? Ling Fan jumped up in fright. Ling Yu, What are you doing? Eavesdropping on us? I looked straight at Lu Yaoguang. Keep talking. What truth? I can give you money. How much can you give? Lu Yaoguang's eyes lit up. Ling Fan said frantically, the money you want. I'll find a way to give it to you. Now get lost. Before leaving, Lu Yaoguang whispered to me, Dear nephew, this secret will always be valid for you. As long as you pay a high enough price, I will definitely sell it to you. I sent a message to Ji Yu. Check out Lu Yaoguang's situation. Looking back, Ling Fan was about to leave. I said indifferently, if you think others won't know, you must not do it. The matter between you and Lu Yaoguang, did you think I couldn't find out? Ling Fan froze. What are you talking about? I don't understand. How big of a handle does he have on you? That makes you give him money every month? What nonsense are you talking? I suggest that if you have the energy, better think carefully about your own way out. Stop wasting time on me. Where is Lu Li? That's your mother. Why ask me? How would I know? Ling Fan quickly fled. I dialed Lu Li's number. I want you to come back and apologize to Miss Shen. I won't. Miss Shen won't let me off. You apologize for me. You are my son. The son pays the mother's debt. In that case, don't blame me for calling the police. Why are you calling the police? I am your mother. The person I want to hit is you. It's only natural for a mother to hit her child. I hung up immediately. Lu Li injured Shen Youchu and was eventually detained for 48 hours. Returning to the ward, Shen Youchu was having a meeting in the RV downstairs. I sat by the bed. I'm sorry, the old lady waved her hand. Grandson-in-law, why say that to family? Besides, seeing that brat protect you, I'm more than happy about it. Those 3 words made my eyes sting slightly. At this time, Ling Fan scraped together 50,000 for Lu Yaoguang, with a note, keep your mouth shut. Send otherwise, none of us will end up well. He was terrified in his heart. Send 0. Just wanted to marry Shen Xin as soon as possible. As long as he becomes the Shen family's son-in-law, even if his identity is exposed, he will still have a way out. 9 p.m. Shen Xin suddenly approached Ling Fan. Ling Fan said in surprise, Sister Shen Xin, why are you here? Shen Xin asked sternly, about Dr. Yu. Are you sure you've settled it with him? Ling Fan's eyes flickered. Of course. Then arrange a meeting between me and Dr. Yu. Ling Fan nervously fidgeted with his fingers. Dr. Yu has gone abroad. I'll arrange it when he returns. Sister Shen Xin, do you have some problem that needs solving? I'll help you contact him. Shen Xin stared at him suspiciously. I sent the problem to your email. You send it to Dr. Yu. Let Dr. Yu help solve it. Okay, I'll forward it to him right now. Ling Fan knew Mrs. Ling's email password by heart. He found that Dr. Yu always replied instantly to Mrs. Ling's emails, and never asked too many questions. That's why he dared to lie. He operated his phone, and forwarded it immediately. Dr. Yu usually replies to my messages instantly. Sister Shen Xin, please wait a moment. In the VIP ward, my phone vibrated. I glanced at it. It was an email from Mrs. Ling. Xiaoyu, can you help solve this problem? As expected, the attachment was a technical problem from the Shen group. I sneered. Ling Fan actually asked for my help in Mrs. Ling's name. I replied coldly. I am only responsible to the Ling family. Problems of the Shen group are not my concern. The notification sound rang on Ling Fan's side. He opened the email with a face full of smiles. The moment he saw the content, his smile froze. Shen Xin frowned and asked what happened. Ling Fan suppressed his nervousness and forced a smile. This problem will take a few days to solve. Shen Xin breathed a sigh of relief. Normal. This problem is indeed somewhat difficult. I bet with the people in Ling Yu's group, there's no problem getting the plan by Friday, right? No problem. But Ling Fan's eyes were flickering. Shen Xin returned to the Shen family. Her father, Shen Yuanjie, unexpectedly smiled at her. As expected of my good daughter, to actually be able to invite Dr. Yu, to be able to establish a foothold in the R&D department so quickly. Her mother, Lu Meizhen, also wept with joy. Shen Xin clenched her fists. Since she chose the path of marriage alliance, she would never regret it. As for Ling Fan, he can only be hers. On the other side, I sneezed and continued working at my desk. The cup was empty, and suddenly it darkened in front of me. Shen Youchu filled a glass of water and placed it on the small coffee table. I was slightly stunned. Thanks. You're welcome. It was just a small thing. Shen Youchu naturally sat back in her original position. The old lady looked at us, smiling from ear to ear. She had already started flipping through a dictionary to name her great-grandson. Next day, R&D department. Shen Xin stopped me in the break area. There is an industry exchange meeting about new energy tonight. Those who can attend are all industry giants. It is said that Dr. Yu might also attend. I didn't stop walking, and then, the Shen Group R&D department has invitation letters. I can take you to see it. Make more connections. No need. Thanks. I entered the office without looking back. Team leader Ling Yu sneered, trying to buy him with a single invitation. Ling Yu isn't that short-sighted. Shen Xin said with a cold face, you should understand. I can bring him better resources. That kind of party. Do you think just anyone can go? At least I can take him. When getting off work, Ling Yu stopped me. There's some work tonight. Come with me. I didn't think much of it. Sent an overtime message to Shen Youchu, then got into her car. Arrived at the entrance of the cocktail party. But the waiter stopped Ling Yu. Sorry, Ms. Ling. The people from Shen Group coming today have already been reported to us. Your name is not on the list. Shen Xin walked out holding champagne, said with narrowed eyes, Team leader Ling, during the Group B R&D task, I thought you wouldn't come, so I helped you decline during registration. Now it seems too late to go home. You should just go back. Ling Yu was fuming. Shen Xin, you've gone too far. What right do you have to decline for me? I am the VP of the R&D department. Of course I can make decisions for you. Shen Xin turned to look at me. Ling Yu, do you see it clearly now? Without my consent, you can't even get through this door. I looked up calmly. Is that so? I took out the email sent by Gu and handed the electronic invitation to the waiter. Can I enter now? The waiter took one look and immediately stepped aside respectfully. Shen Xin's expression changed drastically, staring at the real name invitation on my phone. In what capacity did you get this invitation? None of your business. I turned off the screen and asked Ling Yu, shall we go? Ling Yu was overjoyed, led me into the venue to introduce me to the industry giants. While chatting, Ling Fan and Shen Xin walked over. When President Ling and other seniors saw Ling Fan, they immediately crowded around him. Young Master Ling, when exactly will Dr. Yu make an appearance, so we can seek his guidance? Ling Fan enjoyed the attention and pretended to be modest. I'm only here today to accompany my fiancé. Shen Xin also took the opportunity to network. Ling Yu was pushed to the edge and whispered to me, you will be here soon. You don't need to be shy. Be a bit thicker-skinned and go offer a toast. Too many people want to know her. My mouth twitched. I'll introduce you later. Ling Yu thought I was just bragging. At that moment, there was a commotion at the entrance. Gu has arrived. Ling Fan naturally straightened his suit and walked toward me. Ling Yu, do you need me to introduce you to President G? Shen Xin also sneered. Do you think Gu is that kind of lustful woman? So many handsome men tried to pester her, but she remained indifferent. Do you really think you have that much charm? Ling Fan led Shen Xin toward Gu. President G. Before he could finish, Gu swept past them like a whirlwind. Under the stunned gazes of everyone, she rushed to me with joy. Why are you here? This scene instantly plunged the room into a dead silence. Ling Fan's outstretched hand froze in midair. The smile on his face hadn't had time to fade before it froze into a comical look of terror. Shen Xin was even more dumbfounded. The champagne glass in her hand almost slipped. President G. Have you mistaken him for someone else? Ling Fan spoke with a trembling voice. He is Ling Yu, just a useless person in our family. Gu didn't even acknowledge him. She just looked at me with burning eyes. Boss, I sent dozens of emails inviting you to attend, but you said you were unavailable, so you've come on a low-profile visit. I gave a helpless smile, accompanying a leader to handle some private matters. Boss, Shen Xin screamed out, her voice cracking. Gu, you call him boss? Isn't he Ling Yu, the one living off his thug wife? Gu turned her head with a cold expression, her gaze like a knife as she said, Miss Shen, please behave yourself. The person standing before you is the technical core that your Shen Group has been desperate for, and the rumored Dr. Yu who has never appeared in public. After she spoke, a wave of suppressed gasps erupted from the crowd. Impossible. Ling Fan completely lost his composure. He pointed at me and roared. Dr. Yu has clearly been in contact with my mother. How could he be this illegitimate son? Ling Yu, what benefit did you give Gu to make her act out this play with you? I stepped forward and looked at him coldly. Ling Fan, you stole Mrs. Ling's phone to send emails. Did you really think I didn't know? That line about being responsible only to the Ling family. Didn't you just receive it? Ling Fan's face instantly turned pale. His legs gave way and he collapsed to the ground. Shen Xian was reeling. She looked at me, her eyes full of hatred and absurdity. She always thought I was struggling in the mud, so she wanted to humiliate me with 50,000 yuan. But in the blink of an eye, I became the god she had to look up to. Just then, commotion came from outside. Mrs. Ling actually walked in, supported by Nanny Nan. Her complexion was rosy and her steps steady, showing none of yesterday's sickly state. Ling Yu. Mrs. Ling walked straight toward me, tears in her eyes. You developed that medicine yourself, right? I nodded. Do you feel better? Excellent. Mrs. Ling turned to look at Ling Jinan and Lu Li. Her voice was cold and firm. Jinan, haven't you always wanted to meet Dr. Yu? He is right here, and my confidant Shen Jia has already told me the truth about back then. Nanny Nan stepped forward and stared at Lu Li. Lu Li, did you think swapping children at the hospital could be hidden forever? I've been investigating all these years, and observing you. As a woman, you completely ignored your own son. Yet you were unusually concerned about someone else's son. I felt something was wrong long ago. I have already completed the paternity test. She threw out a report. Ling Jinan took it with trembling hands. After seeing the result, he suddenly turned around and slapped Lu Li across the face. How dare you swap your bastard for my son? Lu Li screamed and completely collapsed. Ling Fan looked at the report, crying out in despair. I am the eldest young master of the Ling family. I am the true heir. I watched all this coldly. Identity, wealth, bloodline, these things that once bound me, now seem as light as a feather to me. Boss, the car is ready. I turned to leave, but my hand was gently held. Shen Youchu had stood behind me since some time. She had changed into a dark-colored long dress. The wound on her back was hidden under the clothes, but the look in her eyes was no longer as cold as before. Mr. Ling, she spoke softly, with a hint of dependence she didn't even notice herself. Grandmother is still at the hospital waiting for us to go home. I looked at her. The softest part of my heart was gently touched. Okay, let's go home. As we walked out of the banquet hall, Shen Xian rushed out, crying bitterly. Ling Yu, I was wrong. Can we go back to how we were in college? I didn't stop, leaving a sentence without looking back. Miss Shen, you once said bastards and thugs are a perfect match. I think you and the current Ling Fan are a true match made in heaven. Behind me were Shen Xian's desperate cries, and ahead was the brilliant night view of Haicheng. In the car, Shen Youchu suddenly asked me, that book on neurology, when will you return it to me? I raised an eyebrow and looked at her. Is President Shen checking up on me? She turned her face to look out the window, her ears turning slightly red. I'm afraid that you, Dr. Yu, might run away one day, and grandmother would tear down the Shen group. I burst into laughter, naturally putting my arm around her shoulder. This time she didn't dodge. Don't worry, the contract hasn't expired yet. Besides, I haven't officially become a permanent husband yet. 3 months later, the day the clinical drug for Alzheimer's was successfully developed, the first rain since autumn fell in Haicheng. When I came out of the laboratory, I saw Shen Youchu standing at the door, holding a black umbrella in her hand. Wearing the dark long dress I had seen countless times, she seemed to have waited for a long time. Fine raindrops clung to the ends of her hair. Grandmother asked me to pick you up. Her tone was still flat, but I could already see from that expressionless face a little bit of something different. Her ears turned red again. I walked over, naturally took the umbrella, bringing her closer under the umbrella. President Shen coming to pick me up personally. I'm flattered. She glanced at me, didn't speak, but didn't dodge either. The car drove toward the Shen family's old residence. On the way, she suddenly spoke. That divorce agreement. I turned to look at her. She paused. Her gaze fell on the rainy scenery flashing past the window. Her voice was so soft it was like she was talking to herself. Grandmother tore it up. I was stunned for a moment. Then I smiled. Then what now? Shen Youchu paused, rarely showing a hint of embarrassment. She said she finally found a grandson-in-law for me. Cannot divorce. I didn't say anything, just looked at her. She finally turned her head and met my gaze. Outside the window, it was drizzling. Inside the car, it was so quiet we could hear each other's breathing. Her eyes were bright, like starlight falling after the rain. She called my name. Her voice was cool and clear, yet with a softness that even she didn't notice. That medicine of yours is being used by Grandma. The first course of treatment starts tonight. She nodded, silent for a while, then spoke. Thank you. I looked at her, suddenly wanted to tease her for just a verbal thank you. She froze for a moment, seemed not to expect me to say that. That face, always cold as frost, actually showed a hint of helplessness. I smiled, reached out to ruffle her hair. Just teasing you. She glared at me, but didn't dodge my hand. The car stopped at the entrance of the Shen family old house. The rain had stopped. A sliver of sunset appeared on the horizon. The old lady had been waiting at the door for a long time. Seeing us get out of the car, immediately welcomed us with a smile, holding my hand, holding Shen Youchu's hand, pulling us into the house. Quick, 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 just waiting for you to start dinner. At the dining table, the old lady served me food, then served Shen Youchu, muttering, "Grandson-in-law, eat more. Stinky girl, you eat more too. Both of you have gotten thinner." Rarely, Shen Youchu didn't argue against being called stinky girl, just ate quietly, occasionally looking up at me. After dinner, the old lady pulled us to sit in the yard and drink tea. The sunset dyed the whole yard a warm orange. The air had the fresh scent of soil after the rain. The old lady suddenly said, "Grandson-in-law, stinky girl, I have something to tell you." Shen Youchu and I looked at her at the same time. The old lady was smiling, but there was a glint in her eyes. I remember now. I was stunned. "How did you two get your marriage certificate?" I remember now. It turns out our marriage certificates were all arranged by the old lady. We were passively registered without knowing. The old lady looked at me with a smile. "Grandson-in-law, you won't blame me, right?" I looked at Shen Youchu, then looked at the old lady, suddenly smiled. "I don't blame you." The old lady nodded with satisfaction, looked at the two of us again, suddenly said, "Then when do you plan to have the wedding?" Shen Youchu couldn't sit still anymore, stood up and wanted to leave. The old lady grabbed her. "Why are you running? Still shy even though you're married?" I looked at this with a smile, suddenly felt, this is probably the life I've always wanted. Shen Youchu finally broke free from the old lady's hand, walked to my side, whispered, "Let's go." I stood up, said goodbye to the old lady. She waved with a smile, and secretly slipped me a note. Got in the car. I opened the note. A line was written on it, "Grandson-in-law, if the stinky girl bullies you, just tell me, I'll help you deal with her." I couldn't help but laugh. Shen Youchu leaned in to look, silent for 2 seconds after reading, then said, "Grandma's handwriting is quite nice." I turned to look at her. She met my gaze and suddenly asked, "Ling Yu, what are you laughing at?" I looked at her, said seriously, "Laughing that I'm lucky." She froze for a moment. "What? Married a wife without spending a penny?" I said, "Although it's fake, but now it seems like it's becoming real." She stared at me for several seconds, then shifted her gaze, looking out the car window. But I saw it, the slight curve at the corner of her mouth. The car slowly drove into the night. The lights of Haicheng flowed outside the window. "Shen Youchu," I called her. Do you have time tomorrow?" She turned to look at me. I looked at her, with a smile in her eyes. "Let's tear up that divorce agreement." She was silent for 2 seconds, then softly murmured The voice was very soft, yet heavier than all the promises in this world. Outside the window, the night in Haicheng is deep, and I feel that the night has only